Hello, hello. How is everybody? Thank you, Daniel, for putting the warning in chat. I will also put it on screen. Let me share it in our Discord to all of our friends that are not here, but maybe hanging out over there. Live now. Yes, all right. Sorry if you got pinged. You're like, I'm already here. Stop yelling at me. How is everybody? How's everybody doing? How was everybody's day? Got my little... I put out my little selenite stick and my little bottle of crushed amethyst, and I was just like, maybe this will keep the tech ghosts away. We'll just get the good vibes going right now. Hi, Cubo. What was your favorite show on Cubo growing up? Because I feel like it's almost like forget your Zodiac. What was your favorite Cubo show growing up? Can we print a discretion warning? Yes, I can pin it. I will also put it on screen. Yeah, this one's it's gonna get rough tonight, guys. I'm also just gonna put kittens up right away. So just to learn, they postponed to next week. Ah, so tired. I used research paper. I couldn't. I hate ADHD. I'm sorry. I know what that's like. It's no fun. Something fun that I learned is I'm trying to get back into doing more like craft things and like making things, not just, making things just for the sake of making things. I love making stuff on the channel, but I think it's good to just make things to make things. And so I've decided that I'm gonna get back into sewing, and I'm also going to learn how to do some basic crocheting, and just start with like blankets and things. I want to make a rainbow circle blanket. So that's my fun news of the day. Where are my trigger warnings? There they are. Hi, Ellery. Listening from a hospital. Oh no. He's fine. He just had to be sedated for a scan. Oh, I'm glad he's okay. I'm so sorry. That's scary. I'm glad that he's doing all right. Hospital is never ever a fun thing. So whoop, come on, give me the trigger warning. Thank you. There we go. Let me move it too so that it's up here in the corner. I feel like that's a good place for it to be easily seen without being in the way of the actual book. And I need to add to this because of course we do. I mean, it's not model land levels of trigger warnings, but it is still there. But yeah, how's everybody's day been? I'm getting the kittens up right away. Crocheting, she probably has good videos. I can share them later. Oh, I'd love that. Okay, thank you. Yes, the Discord is part of what inspired me to get started. That, and I've kind of wanted to start doing some basic things. Not that I'll ever be as good as, not that I'll ever be. Oh my god, I've been having like these headaches that are just out of nowhere and then they stop. I think they're just hormonal headaches. I'll never be as good as our dear friend Danny, who made the Dragon Bean Sandersons, but I'd like to at least be able to make like a shawl and a blanket. Let's just say Yes, here we go. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Probably VeggieTales. Yes, I remember watching VeggieTales on Cubo. Hi, Robin. I will check that out. Thank you. I'm leaning way too far in. I'm like, I know I'm a nearsighted bitch, but Jesus. Crocheting. If I never have to go to Michael's again, I'll be happy. That's funny. Like silver linings. Silver linings always. Too many shawls. Too many shawls. Great at crocheting beanies. We used to make commission Pokemon Ninja Turtle. Oh, cute. And Hello Kitty beanies. A detachable bow. Oh, that's so cute. I'm gonna start off basic and just, you know, your standard your standard crocheted blanket, and then I'll maybe move up to a shawl. Hello, good to see you here. Oh my goodness. Who's still thinking about Cheetah Girls from last night? Because I am. Hey, Audriel. Hello. Welcome, everybody. I think everybody that I'm seeing in chat right now has been here before, knows the drill. Just for anybody who might be watching this back on VOD, who stumbled across this, or anybody new, yes, there are, this series is a kind of young adult coming of age series from the late 90s. It does deal with some heavy subject matter, so just be careful as you go through. We are very happy to have you with us, but please don't be triggered. I think this book is great for me. Yeah, Nat, we love having you here, Natty, but we don't want you to be in a bad place. So, you know, the VOD will always be here if you want to come back to it later, or you just want to skip it. We appreciate you either way. So please stay safe. Get past the model landness of Cheetah Girl. Right? It hit me that last time. I was like, last night, I was like, you know what? I don't mean this, because Deborah Gregory will never see this, but Deborah Gregory, you are a much better author than Tyra Banks. But I would not be surprised if Tyra Banks read all the Cheetah Girls books and was inspired before writing Monoland, or used that as inspiration while she was writing. Oh, here, let me pin this. I just saw that you retracted the other one, so let me place that pinned message with this pinned message. There we go. And let me get the kittens up. Kitten stream. Kitten cam. Oh, and we're gonna. This one has some loud background noise, but I do love. This is Explore. Explore.org. This is a kitten rescue. And I'll link all the things. Because most of the kitten cams we use are fosters or shelters or things like that. So I always like to make sure that we know where we can support them. Can you believe we're already on book 10? After this, we'll be 2/3 of the way done. I'm gonna be in a little bit of withdrawals when we finally finish this series. It's been such a constant for so long. We'll obviously have lots and lots and lots more Babysitters Extended Universe things, but, you know, it's gonna be weird. Last time on California Diaries. I won't stay long as I have to go to bed, but I want to say hi. Hi, Audriel. I appreciate you saying hi. Wait, it's National Puppy Day. It's National Puppy Day? Wait, really? Should we do a puppy cam or should we just say, no, we do kittens here? Take that, puppy. Actually, puppies are adorable. You can't be mad at a puppy. Okay. Let's see. Let me grab... Let me put it in studio mode for a second. Whoop! So I can it's up without too much of an incident, hopefully. I'm always worried when I'm struggling to get the right thing up that I'm gonna give everybody a stroke. Cancel. Okay, well, I do have the kitten cam here, but I'm seeing calls for puppy cam since it is National Puppy Day. So you know what? Fair enough. Let's see. Puppy cam. Let's see. Surely there are puppy cams that exists. Oh my god. Oh. Wait, but this room is empty. You click on all the puppies are off screen. Oh no, hang on. Let me find one that actually has current puppies. All right, here we go. Full House Puppy Cam at Warrior Canine Connection. Let's use this one. This is also via explore.org. Their name is on screen, so you are welcome to check out that organization on your own. Let's see. Properties. Doggy. Pups. The puppers. The pups. Let's see. Put this somewhere in the corner where it will be there, but not in the way of the book. Let's figure this out. Yeah, sure. Let's put it over there. That works for now. We have puppies. It's National Puppy Day. Let me clip this so that we just get pure puppy. All right, Puppy Cam. California Diaries doesn't even need BSC. It stands alone. It does stand alone. It does stand alone. The only bridge is really Dawn, and we all know how we feel about Dawn, but, you know. Sunny does show up in some BSC Forever books. We see some, you know, it's all a shared universe. So it is nice to know that we can still go back to the universe. Labs. Yes, they're little lab puppies. Look how cute they are. Okay. That'll counterbalance the sad. Interesting about comparing Model N to Cheetah Girls is that Deborah Gregory also has two self-inserts, one child and one adult. Dorinda and Ms. Dorothea are both sort of Deborah. I know you talked about Dorothea. Or I know you talked about Dorinda. Ms. Dorothea is amazing. It's so interesting, right? Like, you could really make an argument that Model Land is what happens when you try to write Cheetah Girls and you're just not a great author. You know, because there are a lot of similarities, but it's like Cheetah Girls is very it's very concise in getting done. It knows exactly what kind of book it wants to be, and it does it. Model N does not know what it wants to do. It'd be a one-off Netflix series that nobody would know it's part of BSC Universe. It really could. Or it could be like one of those series where they run out of books, and then by the third season, the whole thing starts going down. Fourth season, it starts going downhill because it's so popular, but they've run out of books, so they keep going. Although I would like to know more about these characters. If Anna M. Martin ever wanted to return to these specific characters, she gets no complaints from me. The only bridge is Dawn, and we'd like to burn that particular bridge anyway. Yes. Good reminder that I have the We Hate Dawn Club merch in the merch shop. I need to add some more things to the merch shop. it's still a little baby merch shop, but one of the first things I made because I had 20 extra minutes and at the Teespring shop, so it's very easy to just add things to my shop. I made it looks reminiscent of the We Heart Kids Club with the little heart, but in the heart it says hate, so it says We Hate Dawn Club with yeah. I was very kind of proud of that. Interested to how we're all gonna react to Dorinda's first book because it very much puts the other girls' lives in perspective, how few problems they have. LOL. I mean, Dorinda and the twins are my favorites, but Dorinda is my girl. That she's got obviously the most complicated backstory, so I think she's just gonna be the most interesting to read about. It's also gonna be probably very sad. Yeah, reboot is the only thing that could save Dawn, and honestly, Dawn has done so many egregious things that, like, it'll be one of those things where it's like, the real fans, no, not to gatekeep, but it's like, ooh, we know what Dawn did. Can't fool us. Alright, the back of the book says, one moment, Alex is there, the next, he's gone, and I can't figure out how to get him back. Alex is Ducky's friend from childhood who is very depressed. He had a self-unaliving attempt last time we hear about him in all the books since, but the last Ducky book, that was kind of the big finale thing, and it was quite a lot. Dorinda's my favorite, but the twins have some very interesting books, LOL. The twins are gonna have I think those are gonna be some very fun books. Do the twins each have, like, one twin has a book and then the other twin has a book, or do they, like, turn off chapters in the book? I'm not sure. I was just curious as to how that goes. Legitimately, California Diaries are my favorite location in an open world video game I love because it's called Dawn Winery, and I flinch. And the funny thing is, Dawn is bad in the original California Diaries. She just has more screen time to be worse because given more... They're always narrated by Aqua. Oh, they're always narrated by Aqua. Okay. Even the Pokemon Dawn. Yeah, Dawn is terrible in all, like, it's not like Dawn's a fine character and then she gets to California Diaries and she sucks. She's always terrible. There's just so much more time to focus on it. One, because she has so much more, shall we say, airtime, because there's less main characters in California Diaries, and two, there's just bigger problems. So you see how, like, whiny Dawn actually is when put up against other kids that are her age and dealing with real problems. It's ruined for me. Well, even, like, in that Nancy Drew book we were reading where the guy, his name was Don, D-O-N, short for Donald, and even that, I was just like, ooh, it sounds like I'm saying Dawn, D-A-W-N, and I don't like that. All right. Ooh, let's go on to Goodreads. I think I told my brother. Whoopsie. Nope, go back. There we go. I told my brother that I'm pretty sure today is book. Phone over there. Let me see if I can grab my phone real quick. I'm not actually seeing my book. I'm gonna my phone. I'm just gonna worry about that later. But I told my brother that tonight, this book will make 75 books covered on the channel, and my brother just goes, nerd. We all have Dawn PTSD. All right. Yep. Trying to open in a new tab so I wouldn't have to take away from the dogs, but nope, it's still gonna be on the... Of course it is. Look at the puppies. Okay. I don't want to take away from the dogs, so I'm just gonna worry about logging it on Goodreads later. Angie is Shire's sister, so I guess the idea is that Aqua talks for both of them. Okay. Is Angie also the one, I cannot remember, that just doesn't exist in the movie? PTSD. It's on site when I see Dawn. Author gratefully acknowledges Peter Laranius for his help in preparing this manuscript. Yes, Angie was not in the movies. Okay, I guess that follows suit if she doesn't narrate but that's still sad. I still like them, like, as twins. And I would have loved to see Tia and Tamara play them. All right, I'm just getting into it. There's really no way to segue into the California Diaries. We're just gonna start. December 1st, 5:45 p.m., Los Angeles International Airport. Ducky the Fearless strikes again. He leaves home late. He hits rush hour freeway traffic. He detours onto back roads through treacherous Windsor Hills and Inglewood, finally reaching the airport. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, he makes it to gate 21 2 minutes early. 5:35 for a 5:37 arriving flight. Ah, yes, back when you could go to the gate to pick somebody up. Ducky the miracle worker. Ducky the good son. Here for his parents when they arrive from Ghana on a school night, the day before a math test. Why? Because he wants to. Because that's the kind of guy he is. Then he checks the arrival screen and he sees Flight 407, 1 hour late. Cue laugh track. What a fool. Okay, let's analyze this, Ducky. You might have known this has happened before. Mom and Dad's overseas flights are almost always late. You could have called in advance to check. If you knew, you wouldn't have panicked and rushed. Now, suddenly, you have time to kill and nothing to do. And this would be a perfect opportunity for some badly needed math review. But you can't do it because in your hurry, you forgot your preview material. And why are you here alone to pick up your lucky parents on this day before a math test? Well, that breaks down into 2 questions. 1, why are you here? Because Ted, older and more beloved son, couldn't be. You see, Ducky, he's a college boy. You may have homework, but he has a course load. 2, why are you here alone? Because none of your friends would come along and keep you company. Not Jay, formerly known as Jason, once your best friend and now a member of the Vista School Cro Mags, dedicated to the grunt and snort school of social behavior. Jay's helpful comment, come on, Duckster, they're old enough to get home by themselves, which you have to admit isn't a bad point. Not Alex, too depressed, of course, which doesn't surprise you, but because you're best friends and because you've been helping him through the gloomy state he's in, you still hope he might come along. No such luck. Not Sunny, even though she's always looking for excuses to get away from her house. She's busy tonight with what or whom she won't say, but you know her, super slippery, cute tone of voice translates into new boyfriend, which means you may not see her for a while. Until, of course, this guy turns out to be just like the others, and she comes back to cry on your shoulder, and that's fine, because Sunny needs you. She's freaking out because of her mom's cancer, and the boyfriends are a way of escaping, really. You understand everyone's excuses, because that's what you do best, Ducky. You think of others first, and second, and third. Somewhere down the list of concerns, or maybe near the price of asparagus and the political situation in Norway, is you. 1. Say I. Say I when you mean I, Ducky. Don't hide. When am I going to learn? I did the same thing as Ducky when I had a journal back in high school. Maybe Jay is right. You could have let Mom and Dad take a car service. You, crossed out I, should think about yourself, cross out myself for a change. Myself, me. God, I hate the way that sounds. 3 hours later, in which Ducky, still waiting with nothing else to do, sees scenes from his life reenacted all around him. For example, you look around the arrival gate and see the toddler strapped into her stroller and crying madly, ignoring her drippy ice cream cone as a DC-10 rises into the smog outside the window. Boy, do you remember that feeling. The two little boys at gate 22 running into a crowd of arriving passengers and being scooped up by a tired but happy businessman. The mom joins them making a 4-person sandwich, and you can almost hear them squeal, "We're the ham and cheese, you're the bread." But no, that's what you used to say. It's only a memory. But you can taste the hope and excitement in the air. You know what those boys are thinking right now. Today, Daddy's home for good. Today, everything will be normal again. Maybe for them that's true. Maybe their parents aren't professors slash international business consultants like yours. For you, Ducky, things were never normal because Mom and Dad always had another trip. And when they were gone, you worried they'd forget you. Or find new kids to love, or just plain never come back. You counted the days on a calendar and looked at atlases and encyclopedias, hoping to see Paris through Mom's and Dad's eyes, or Boston, or Abu Dhabi, or Toronto, or Sri Lanka, and you wondered why you couldn't have gone along too, and what you did wrong, and how you could make them want to stay home next time. If I clean my room every day, if I stop yelling at my brother, if I get straight A's. The trips eventually became a part of life, expected, unavoidable, like breakfast and homework. The fears become hidden away like a scabbed over wound, and soon even the scab was gone, leaving only a scar. Scars protect, scars heal, but they're markers too, reminders of what's underneath. So when you see that toddler and those boys, the scars stretches. You feel a little of the old pain, and you ask some of the old questions. What will Mom and Dad be like when they arrive? Will they be happy to see you? How long will they stay this time? Until the spring? Until the new year at least? The difference between now and then is that at 16 you know some of the answers. You know to settle for reality, which isn't too bad, really. Soon, 121 Sherwood Road will look and smell the way it used to, like a house with a real family in it. Still, you want something more. An edge, an electricity, something. And you know you won't get it. Cat is screaming. Just Ducky, the social identity as he goes from high school to college, and I'd read every book. Me too, Daniel. 16-year-old has chosen computer engineering. Yay! Congratulations! Ever see Barnyard? Ooh, yes, I did. I used to like that movie a lot when I was a little kid. I'm not sure why. I don't remember anything about it. But I remember that it existed and that at one point in time I liked it and owned it on DVD. Oh, come back. There we go. All right. Definitely review it one day. It's definitely going to happen one day. "9:07 p.m. The 537 has arrived. Much later, after an evening of song, dance, and laughter. Well, maybe not dance. Definitely not song. Laughter? Well, let's just say it's been a weird night, starting with the arrival of the plane. The reunion of the McCraes, based on a true story. Act 1, Scene 1. Setting, Los Angeles International Airport, 9:10 p.m., December 1st. Great hubbub at Gate 21. Passengers emerge from the plane into the waiting crowd. Families hug and cry. Boyfriends and girlfriends are lost in each other's embraces. Ducky, a nondescript, dark-haired 16-year-old, cranes his neck and sees, cut to, a tanned, trim, middle-aged couple walking out of the gate. They are struggling with their carry-on luggage. Ducky looks away. Then he does a double take. They're his parents. He didn't recognize them at first. Was it their tans? Their weight loss? Or has it really been so long since he last saw them? Ducky's heart is beating faster. He smiles, he waves, and calls out their names. Father and mother turn. They spot Ducky across the multitudes. Swelling music. Ducky, enthusiastically, arms wide, big smile. Hi, mother, with a quick kiss on Dee's cheek. Thank you for coming, sweetie. Would you help with the carry-ons? Father, putting garment bag over Dee's overstretched arm, which is already holding M's bag. What a trip. Glad you're here. Heavy enough? D, sagging under the weight. Fine. M, where's Ted? D, studying. F, at least somebody's working. Heh, let's get our luggage. M and F walk briskly ahead toward baggage claim. D lags behind, loaded down with luggage, dumbfounded, drooping, dodging and ducking through the crowd. D, thinking in a voiceover. They're tired. It was a long flight, so they're not gooey and emotional. That's not their style anyway. Deal with it. M, are you still with us, Ducky? D, voiceover. Ducky. He smiles. F and M sometimes still use his nickname. It's a touching movement. It's a touching moment. It sounds so natural, so right. In a funny way, a glimmer of happiness, which ends as he collides with a man in a Hawaiian shirt. Oh, my heart breaks for Ducky. Hi, Paolo. Whodunit will be soon. Natasha's been very busy, so she hasn't been able to come over and film, but we've talked about the next time, which hopefully is soon. She is able to come over and hang. We'll film the next episode. We've only got 2 more, and we're still not entirely sure what we want to do for the last one, but we know we want to do something special. Juanita and Chanel vibes. Oof. It's getting worse than that, because Juanita genuinely does love her kid. Oof, these are very emotionally neglectful parents. Cut. Change reel. You preach... Wait, sorry. Sorry, Ducky, I love you, but your handwriting is hard for me. You reach the baggage claim, bruised but alive. You drop the carry-ons. Mom and Dad are looking to the place where the suitcases will first appear. How was the trip, you ask? Mom begins. Well, I made great progress on my paper. You hear about the water level of the Volta River. The price is fluctuating in manganese. Ore and bauxite? I'm sorry, I'm saying all of that wrong. Boite? Okay, I'm just gonna keep going. The condition of the cacao crop and its effects on the coastal Ashant people. Right. Didn't you do anything fun, you ask? They don't answer. They're distracted by the carousel, which is now going around without their luggage. So Dad begins to worry, and that worry aloud that his stuff has been stolen or switched onto a flight to Kathmandu, where some lucky Sherpa will soon be leading mountain treks dressed in his Brooks Brothers seersucker suit. All right. And you don't want him to make a scene, but there's no way to stop him. He's off, yelling at some sky cap, threatening to sue the airline when, hallelujah, the suitcases arrive. But now Dad's caught in one of his funks. So you try to be lighthearted and cheerful as you drag the luggage to the airport doors. You run to the lot, fetch the car, and load everything into the trunk. You hand Dad the keys, but he shakes his head. No, you go ahead. You turn towards Mom. She's already sliding into the back seat. You're driving, Ducky. No way out. The torture begins. They're Goosebumps parents. Oh, yeah. Ducky and his family. In the unreleased Goosebumps book. My parents are gone now. What? We need to have, like, a tier list of parents in books. You know, at the top, the S tier is, like, Carson Drew. The F tier is, like, Creamy de la Creme, and one small level up from that is, like, Goosebumps parents, and one small level up from that is California Diaries parents. As you pull away from the curb, Dad stomps on an imaginary brake. As you approach the crosswalk, he yells at you to watch out for the pedestrians. He grabs at near accidents that are, let's face it, all in his mind. Soon, you're crawling along the freeway at 5 miles under the speed limit, eyes ahead, teeth clenched, knuckles gripping the steering wheel. Mom exclaims how nice it is to be back home, but all you can see out the window is smoggy gray Culver City, and you think either she's lying or Ghana must be pretty dismal, when suddenly she asks, "So, how are you, sweetie? You. What a shock. There's so much you want to say. Your schoolwork, your new friendships, your job at Winslow Books, and everything rushes out at once, but nothing makes much sense." Dad interrupts you. "What about Mrs. Winslow?" he mumbles. "Is she still alive?" "Yup," you reply, and you hate the way the words sound. A quick update, just the headlines, implying all is well when in reality it's not. Sunny's mom is dying and Sunny is going through her own private hell, but you can't go into that or into anything important because Dad is telling you to bear left, slow down, use your signals, and when your exit finally appears, you want to veer onto a side street, park the car, and walk home, but instead you obediently drive to your house. Then tote the baggage inside while Mom and Dad give Ted a big emotional greeting, and Ted seems actually interested in the news about Boxite, the faker, which is why they adore him so much more than you. Ducky, you didn't write that. Soon, Dad's complaining. The TV's been moved to the wrong side of the living room. There's no real food in the fridge. A slice of pizza has slipped between the fridge and the counter somehow, unseen by you and Ted. Mom's wandering around the house, running her fingers along the counters, gazing through the windows as if visiting a place in a dream. You try not to look at her face as she discovers a sock behind the sofa and the smudge marks on the ceiling that Ted's friends made passing around the basketball inside the house. This is not what you expected. You've done 5 loads of laundry, washed all the dishes, swept the kitchen floor, scrubbed the bathtub, taken out the garbage. You're proud of yourself, proud of Ted too, even though he did 1/10 of the work you did. But hey, anything's an improvement. You thought Mom and Dad would be happy. You thought they'd appreciate the effort. Oh well. You're in your room now after a very late dinner. Door closed, Ducky's cave. You can hear Mom and Dad in their room unpacking, grumbling. The 24-hour news radio station is droning in the background. That is such a dad thing. You feel cooped up. A day ago, you felt as if the whole house Okay. Hi guys, I'm back. I was reading, all happy and content, and I looked up to get some support from Chad about how sad I am for Ducky. And Jesus, I just looked up and the whole thing was just frozen. I was like, "Oh, my mouse is everything is just frozen. It's just frozen." So the whole thing had to be shut down and brought back. So hopefully I am back. Welcome back. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. I have no idea what caused that. But we're back. Hurrah! While I'm at this little break, how far was I? The last thing Daniel says that was heard was, "That is such a dad thing," about him always watching the 24-hour news. Where was that? Okay. We only have like barely more than a paragraph that we missed. So let me get to the end of this page. You feel cooped up. A day ago, you felt as if the whole house was your room. Now you're back to these 4 walls again. It's their house now. No more dropping your clothes on the floor and picking them up whenever. No more leaving the dishes in the sink overnight. No more loud music, your radio stations whenever you want. You may have gained a family, Ducky boy, but you've lost your freedom. That is the end of the page that I read and then looked up at chat and said, "Isn't that sad?" And nobody was there because OBS failed me. So let me, while I'm here, log that we are in fact reading this book. I don't know that anybody actually keeps up with the Goodreads, but I keep up with it. I like being organized, so it's important to me. Ducky Diary 2 is what we're reading. Nice. Very nice. Okay. In the middle of... oh, gosh. His parents are really the worst, though. I feel just so heartbroken for him. All right. Well, poor Ducky. I guess we'll just keep going. Set this up. But just in case, I can see if something goes horribly, horribly wrong. I'm gonna give a star review to Animorphs Book 2. Ooh, thank you for telling me. I'll have to go in here. Let me go do that. Animorphs Book 2. I'll give that like a 4-star. I'm not good about... Sometimes I just straight up forget to give reviews and stuff. I mostly consider it a win if I can just like keep them logged and shelved in the right shelves. Let's go to the red shelf. Go to Animorphs 1. That one's got a 3.86, which honestly for the types of like Apple books, that's a pretty high rating. Oh wait, now I'm on the first one. Hang on, where's the second one? There's the second one. Like, wait, I did give that one a star review. I'll also say this one's a 4. All right. At least Melissa's parents are being controlled. What excuse Ducky's parents? I know, right? I have to catch up with like 3 months of books for my Goodreads list. It gives me a lot of serotonin to be like, I don't know if this is the ADHD or the OCD or both, but it's just, it helps me a lot when I have like a tracking system, right? When I can scroll through and be like, look at all the books we've read. And of course, I have another account that I haven't touched in forever. That's just like my personal account, the non-stream books. But it's honestly been a second. Let me move this back because that looks like some mini streamception. All right. But yeah, Goodreads is just, I like Goodreads. Goodreads is fun. Okay. Let's keep reading. Which is like 30 books. Good for you. I mean it when I say, I know we obviously cover all types of things here on this channel, but doing the read streams has really reminded me why I love books so much, and it's got me way back into reading. And I personally don't care if I'm not reading the New York Times best-selling books and all the books that are like prestigious. I'm reading what I like to read, and that's quite a bit more than most people read, I think, all things considered. Not that it is a contest, so it's good to just read. It reminded me of like being a kid and just reading what you want to read, just because it's interesting, not because like so and so recommended a book and it's getting all of this press and all that stuff. Fell off Goodreads and I need my fix back. Yeah. My friend Natasha, we all know Natasha here on the channel, she is the queen of Goodreads. She's been using it since like back in the day when it first was like a really big thing, and she's got thousands of books shelved as read, and I'm just like, oh, so many. All right, Wednesday, 12/2, bleary-eyed in homeroom. You wake up to the smell of grilled ham and cheese sandwiches. Mom and Dad are in the kitchen eating lunch at 7 a.m. They're still on Ghana time. They stayed up all night noticing things wrong with the house, things Ted and you neglected. Kind of like your children, sir and madam. Now, while you're still half asleep, they present to you with a handy list of questions. Did we preview their magazines? Did we renew their magazine subscriptions? Did we tip the gardener? Did we pick up the dry cleaning? Did we turn over their car's engine regularly? You know, those are things that you could have done if you were home raising your children. I know your kids are older, but still, they need their parent. Like, turn over the engine. Ted and you sit there in disbelief. Afterward, you both hop into your cars and take off. You're a little early for school, so you take the scenic route past the Las Palmas County Park. That makes you unwind a bit. You think about how you used to practically live there on the weekends, doing nothing, just skipping stones and wasting hours with Alex. That thought makes you smile. Then you think of the ghost of Alex present. You remember he was absent from school yesterday, so you take a detour and stop by his house. His mom's car is gone. She's already left for work. With Paula, whose school starts earlier than ours. You ring and ring. After about 5 minutes, he opens the door, his eyes half closed. He's dressed in a t-shirt and boxers. Sleepwear. You ask if he's sick. No, he replies. Why? Last time I looked, it was a school day. You say, it's supposed to be a joke, but Alex just grumbles something under his breath and walks into the house. You follow. He disappears into his room for another 5 minutes. When he emerges, he has put on long pants, same t-shirt, same sleepy hair, same sleep hair. You're gonna like his hair isn't sleepy. You're going like that, you ask? He just shrugs. Now it's getting late, so you rush him out to the car. Alex, what would you have done if I hadn't picked you up? I don't know. Where were you yesterday? Here, around. Nope, no apology, no explanation. Alex, you missed a lot of school lately. There we go. Yeah, so I'd prefer to have my best friend remain in my grade next year. You can see his lips curling upward into something like a smile. He repeats, next year, under his breath, as if you're a total idiot for bringing it up. You remind yourself he's depressed. That's why he's in therapy. Until he recovers, he needs companionship, understanding. He's not getting it from any other kids in school, not even from Jay, who used to be one of his best buddies. So it's up to you, Ducky. Be cool, you think. You ignore the comment, drop the topic of discussion, tell him about your last 24 hours, the gory details of the McCrae family, re-entry period, until you realize you're talking his ear off. You take a deep breath. So, what do you think? Why do these trips get harder? Alex looks at you blankly. Huh? My parents' trips? Oh, did they come back or something? Alex, didn't you hear what I said? You are stopped at a red light now. Alex looks confused. Sorry, he says. I'm spacing out. So you patiently repeat yourself. They weren't on vacation, Ducky, he says. They were working. I know that. People get tired and cranky when they work hard. Plus they travel. The time change, you'd be the same too. They'll sleep, then they'll come around. My brain is like, are we also missing a page? I don't think we are this time. I just need to double check something. Hi guys, just coming in. We are reading Ducky Diary 2, Book 10. Audiobooks changed my life. Oh, audiobooks are great. Pay your kids for house sitting or something if you want all that, right? Or, just, I don't know. Those are all the things I know. These parents are just real something else. Let's see. Wait 1 second. I can hear the cuckoo clock going off downstairs. Okay. Yeah, it's one of those things where parents being like, "Oh, you didn't do all the things." It's like, "Well, yeah, you left us to go to Ghana. What do you mean?" Yeah, we didn't do all the things. We're teenagers. Okay, where was I? Wait, so patiently repeat yourself. He says, they weren't on vacation, Ducky, he says. Oh, I see. Alex says, okay. They were working. I know that. People get tired and cranky when they work hard. Plus plus the travel, the time change. You'd be the same too. They'll sleep and then they'll come around. Good point. A very Alex perspective. How about you, you ask? How about me what? Are you coming around too? From what? You know, your bad feelings? Depression. Why can't I say that word? You had to drag him home drunk and soaking wet from Jay's party after he locked himself in the bathroom and passed out. You had to call Dr. Welsh in the middle of the night and tell him what happened, and Alex knows you know, so why beat around the bush? I'm cool, Alex says. Dr. Welsh helping you? No. You can't tell if Alex means no, Dr. Welsh isn't helping him, or no, he isn't seeing Dr. Welsh anymore. You are pulling into a parking space by now, and Alex leaves the car before you can ask. At least they had the option to just walk away. Right? Yeah. The case of the missing friend continues. What is going on? You're walking to the hallway after homeroom. You happen to glance through the door to the parking lot and you spot him outside staring at the school, hands in pockets. You wave, but he doesn't see you. He just turns and walks away. He's hidden by all the SUVs so no one else notices him. You run outside calling his name. He turns and says, "Hey, Ducky, what's up?" Like it's totally normal thing to be outside when you're supposed to be in chemistry class. Chemistry? He repeats. He has no clue. Yeah, chemistry. Your quick, perfect imitation. Sky Masterson, Guys and Dolls, which you and Alex listened to at least a million times when you were kids. It's his cue to start singing I'll know a la Alex way out of tune, but he just nods and heads back towards school. Mr. O'Toole is not happy to see you. When he finds out Alex has no notebook, doctor, textbook, he gives a big lecture on responsibility. Alex is in another world playing with a rubber band. Mr. O'Toole moves right up close to him, waves his hands, and does a little soft shoe. When Alex finally looks up, O'Toole says, "Phew, I'm glad that worked. Next I was gonna have to do a striptease." Okay, that's a child's... Jesus Christ. Oh, no. Mr. O'Toole is the teacher that thinks he's funny. Mr. O'Toole has some sass for days. Typical O'Toole humor. The class is cracking up. You're hearing whispered comments about Alex, and you know they think he's a druggie or an alcoholic, and maybe he is. You don't know, but poor Alex is sitting there, bewildered, not knowing what's going on, and all you want to do is smash some test tubes, tell everyone to shut up, and pull Alex out of class. So you guess you are his keeper in a way. At least that's how you feel. Someone has to be. Lunchroom. You're dining alone today, partly because you have to, partly because you choose to. You do because Alex was head split. You didn't see him go, but he hasn't been in school ever since chem. You choose to because the alternative is sitting with Jay, and at this moment you'd rather have lunch with a rabid weasel. You weren't feeling this way a few minutes ago, but then Jay made his appearance on the lunch line behind you. Duck-o-matic, he says, the Duckmeister. Duckington, Dr. Doolittle. Dr. Doolittle. Okay, Dr. Doolittle is kind of good, though. When, oh, when will he grow out of this habit? You nodded and forced a smile. What's the matter? Jay says loudly. You're not talking to me anymore. When you give me a chance, I am, I replied. Why? Maybe I should cut classes and wear dirty clothes and pull away from all my friends and, like, slink along the hallway walls. What are you talking about? You know, I'll be like Snyder. Then you'll hang out with old Jay. All of this delivered with a big, dumb Cro Mags smile. I don't believe you're saying this, you said. He happens to be my friend, and yeah, I hang with him. But you know why. You know he's having some rough times. Jay was also there when the little self-unaliving attempt happened. Right. Hey, do they have chocolate pudding today? He was your friend, too. Okay, lighten up, McDuck. Can't you take a joke? I guess I didn't find it funny. I guess not. Look. Looks like he's rubbing off on you, too. You didn't honor that. Wait, you didn't... Wait. It's so hard for me to read his handwriting. You didn't honor that one. You took your tray and walked to the opposite side of the cafeteria. Jay's with the Cro Mags now, eating and greeting and grunting and laughing and farting and loving it, living proof that not all human life is at the top of the evolutionary ladder. You've totally lost your appetite. You're worried about Alex, for one thing, and even though you know you shouldn't take a word of Jay's seriously, you feel guilty. Are you spending too much time with Alex? Are you ignoring Jay just because of him? Not that there aren't many reasons to ignore a guy who sets you up on blind dates without even asking, who hangs out with Cro Mags, obsessed over girls, and plays on so many after-school sports teams that you couldn't have a friendship even if you wanted to. His duckness. El Duckerino. The Nile is an only river in Egypt. Yeah. Duck, and Ducky. Hostile work environment. Oh my god. I just heard the Ed, and Eddie theme song, and I didn't even watch Ed, and Eddie back in the day. So don't sweat it, Ducky. You have other friends now. Sunny and Dawn and Maggie and Amalia. Okay, they're only 13 and they're not guys, but and one of them is Dawn, so there's that too. But they're smart and funny, and they care about you, appreciate who you really are, whoever that is. And they don't try to make you into a carbon copy of themselves the way Jay does. That's why you're not close to Jay. Enough said. Case closed. Math book open. Study begun. I need to plug my phone in a second. Aftermath. The aftermath. The study didn't help. The studying didn't help. Hang on, guys. I'm gonna go grab a thing to plug my phone in so it doesn't die. Where can I plug this in? What song do you have stuck in your head right now? Because for me, it's Don't Lose Your Head from 6. I just got a song stuck in a lot of people's heads, and it's all different songs. I'm sorry about that. Calm down, phone. You're gonna live. Angel Bassett did the thing remix stuck in my head. That's funny. All right. My drink while it's still hot. End of study hall. End of patience. You called Alex's house from a payphone after lunch. No answer. Pre-cell phone era strikes again. Now, at the beginning of study hall, you ask the teacher for a library pass and then bypass the library. They never check. To look for Alex in all the usual places, and some of the unusual ones too. Behind the sports equipment shed, off campus at the Fiesta Grill. You find Sunny at the Fiesta Grill. At the Fiesta, she is sipping a fruit drink and reading a magazine. She greets you with a scream of joy and a big hug. You notice the edge of a terry cloth beach towel sticking out of her backpack. Hanging 10 with the pound masters today, you ask? Sunny gives you her best moi look. But enough about me. Sit, have some papaya shake. Tell me what's wrong, and don't say nothing, Ducky. I know that look on your face. How can you resist her? You can't. So you tell her everything on your mind, all your concerns about Alex. Her response? I cut classes, I skip school, and you don't worry about me like that. I worry about you all the time. Then I guess Alex and I are both lucky, Sunny says with a big laugh. Look, you want my advice? Venice Beach. Sunny, I'm serious. Depressed people need sunshine. It does something chemical to the brain. That's a medical fact. Thank you, doctor. It is true. Go and get your sunshine in today, especially if you're feeling down. It's the end of seasonal depression time. It's time to get out and get spring sunlight if you can handle the pollen. And if you can't, just wear a mask. Welcome. Sunny holds out her hand. That'll be $75. You laugh, you leave, you feel much better. Which is weird. You know she's cutting, you know she's heading for the beach, and you know that in a way she's just as messed up as Alex, but Sunny's problems are different. Not easier, but more concrete, more understandable. You know why she's angry, you know why she does the things she does. Cuts school, runs away, latches onto perfect guys who turn out to be jerks. All of it is tied to her mom's condition. As horrible and morbid and pessimistic as it sounds, you know the cause of the problems will end someday. But when you try to understand Alex, it's not so clear. What's the cause? The Snyders' divorce? Maybe, but that's old news, and he insists he's over it. So what else? You wish there was something else you could point to and say, once this is over with, he'll feel a lot better. Maybe there just isn't. Maybe there is, and Alex is hiding it. If only he'd talk. If only he'd show a little emotion. Rage. Something. Home alone. Ted at school. Mom and Dad sleeping. You can't concentrate for the rest of the day. You are especially pathetic in Shakespeare. Your favorite class with your favorite teacher. You can't answer one question about Measure for Measure, even though you read it and liked it, and you feel like a jerk for letting Ms. Kruger and yourself down. Ms. Kruger is the one who they trashed her yard, and then she's the cool teacher, right? Oh, hi, Perry. Oh, there you are, Perry. Come on. Say hi. Say hi. There you go. Don't mind me, I'll just be back here, Perry. Really? They trashed the whole house. That's right, they did trash the whole house. No, Perry. I need to get her like a cat bed or something in here so that she'll maybe lay not on this right here. Bath time for Perry. Hello, Perry. Oh, there you are, Perry. Perry. Okay. Perry, do not try to pull up keys off my keyboard with your needle hands. A Perry shrine. Yeah, honestly. It was inevitable. Also, I would love to see Ducky in any Shakespeare play. He would kill. Perry. So you decide to pop in to see her after school. Hi, you say. Sorry about today. Ms. Kruger smiles, and she says you're sweet to come and apologize, but not to worry. We all have our off days. You discuss the play a little, and just as you're about to leave, she reaches for the pile of today's assignment sheets and asks, will you be seeing Alex this evening? I'd like him to read one of these. You tell her you'd give it to him and take the sheet. I haven't seen him for a while. Is he sick? Ms. K asks. Perry, don't mess anything up and don't talk back to me. I mean, not really. I mean, not physically. She shoots you with silent question mark. A calm, kind, open, understanding, non-judgmental question mark. And you think about the time those kids trashed her house when she was on vacation. You remember how fair and patient her reaction was, and you've seen how nice she is to Alex, despite the fact that he cuts her class so often. You don't want to go behind Alex's back, but you feel you should tell her something. Yes, tell an adult, please. If any teenagers are watching this, tell an adult when something is happening. I know adults are often sucky at listening, but still. The way he is right now, he's not really like that. Ms. K quietly shutting the classroom door. You know, Ducky, your friend is a very bright guy. But he's in serious danger of failing 10th grade. I know. He used to be a good student, Ms. Kruger. All A's and B's. Ms. K. I was impressed with his writing earlier in the year. Very powerful stuff, but disturbing. Bleak. I tried to talk to him about it, but it was difficult. Perry! Perry, please don't press any buttons. That one, don't press that button. I tried to talk to him about it, but it was difficult. D. He's totally depressed. He sleeps all the time. He doesn't care about the way he looks. I try to make him see he's changing. See how he's changing. I try to help him, but I can't get through. Ms. K. Maybe he should see the school psychologist. D. I guess you don't have the heart to tell her about Dr. Welsh and all the other therapists who are history. But I should be able to do something, too. I'm his best friend. What would you do if you were me? Ms. K, thinking for a moment. Everything you are doing, plus one more very big thing. D, what's that? Ms. K, never, ever, ever give up. Perry. You unplugged my phone, Perry. The Chaos Cat. Which is just every cat, but still. You can't solve his problems and you mustn't lose yourself trying, but you can't let it, you can let him know he's valued and keep it up, even if it seems he doesn't appreciate it. Perry. Got my grandfather home safe, so I'm here now. I'm glad to hear that, Ellery. Hi, Patrick. And up from dance. Yay! Something you say or do may be the thing that helps him regain his own perspective when he eventually comes around. He'll never forget it, and neither will you. You nod and thank her. You leave before she can see you starting to cry. Not that she solved anything. Not that she's told you anything you don't know. Her leg is over here, like, dangling off the back of the desk. Go back for another screening, so yay! Yay! That's good news. Glad to hear that. Not that she's told you anything you didn't know, really, but it feels so good to talk about it. On your way out, you see Maggie, Amalia, and Dawn all huddled together in the front hall. Amalia's in the middle, scribbling something into a sketch pad. They gesture you over. There are 3 different designs for the name Vanish on the pad. We're discussing a new logo, Amalia explains. Which one looks right for a group? You stare at the logos. Vanish, vanish, vanish. You try to make a decision, but you can't. They all look the same. Somehow, all you can think about is Alex's face. Perry. Your paw is on the screen, Perry. I can't even see if my levels are level. In which Ducky, on the bench at Cosmo's gas station, seeks his muse. Harry, ah! Oh, I'm sorry. Did I wake you up? Harry, really? Honestly? Seriously? After the last entry, you put away your journal and bike over to Alex's. Mrs. Snyder answers the bell. She's smoking a cigarette as usual. You're scared as usual, even though it's silly to be scared of her. You're bigger than she is now, and she's always perfectly nice to you. It's just a feeling left over from when you were a kid, when you hated the way she yelled all the time, and you wondered how nice a guy like Alex could have such a mean mother. But she's not mean, you know that. She's a good mom and she works hard. She's just not a jolly person, and you wouldn't be either if you went through a bad divorce and had to work 2 jobs to support a family. Oof. So you smile and politely ask about Alex, but she looks confused. She says he's out. She thought he was with you. You say you haven't seen him. You're about to add the words since chemistry class, but you swallow them. Well, you guess. Your guess is as good as mine, Ducky. She says, if you see him, tell him to leave me a note once in a while. She takes a deep drag from her cigarette. Her eyes are red and she's pulling a loose lock of hair behind her ear. And you wonder, does she know what's going on? She must. Someone has been paying for the therapy and the antidepressant medication. Alex's dad sure isn't. Mrs. Snyder, you want to say something, but you don't know what. You can't talk about Alex behind his back, but you want to reassure her somehow. She looks like she needs reassurance, but all you can say is, I'm sure he's at the park, and you go. You're right, Alex is in the park, exactly where you expect him to be. You cross the bridge. Harry, what in the world are you doing? Oh no. Harry, what have you done? Harry. I'm sorry, honey. I just look up to just casually see the 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 desk cam just whoop out of the way. Harry, honey, this is why we can't use keyboards as pillows, honey. This is why. Harry, what have you done? Door knocking, mammal of action. Great. Easy, Perry. Okay, calm down. There you go. Okay. Perry, what have you done? Okay, we're back. They're chaos. Perry's on. That was a seamless transition because it was done by a cat on it. Right? That was a very seamless transition. I think she's auditioning to be, she really, really wants to be the chat producer or the stream producer. Okay. You're right. Alex is at the park, exactly where you expect him to be. You cross the bridge and find him at the other side, sitting on the creek bank among the reeds. You call out to him. He grunts hello. He doesn't look up. You park your bike and sit next to him. What's up? No answer. He's ripping up grass, one blade at a time. You pull out a long blade, make a reed between your thumbs, and blow. It makes a good, solid squeak. And a duck flaps its wings in surprise. The old Alex would have tried to outdo you. The new one is not interested. His face is a total blank, as if the muscles have been cut loose, leaving the skin to slacken. So you shut up, listen to the breeze, skim the stones out the water, and you think about the long summer afternoons you two used to spend here doing nothing, absolutely nothing, exactly as you're doing now. Except back then, time passed so quickly. You talked about the same things over and over, or you spent hours playing the ESP game and it was never boring. Tell me, right this minute, you blurt out, what song are you hearing in your head? You hope for a match, just like old times, but Alex says, no music. You fling a perfect flat stone and it skitters across the creek, all the way to the other bank. Yes, you cry out, no reaction. Alex, you finally say, are you okay? He nods, uh-huh. You seem, I don't know, upset? Shrug. Is something going on? Something you don't want to talk about? The words sound so weak, so wimpy, but you're trying, you're not giving up. Alex keeps his eyes straight ahead and looks as if he's thinking about what to say, shaping an answer, but he just yawns. You wouldn't understand. Slap. What now, Ducky? You're thinking, fine, he wants to be that way? He wants to abuse his best friend? He can stay here alone. See if the reeds understand. See if the birds understand. You get up ready to leave, but you catch yourself. You look closely at his face. He's not dissing you. He's telling you the truth. His truth. He honestly believes you wouldn't understand, and maybe he's right. You've never had the urge to do the things he does. Drink or cut school or mope around and do nothing. It's not in your chemistry. Step one to helping somebody with a problem is sympathy. And how can you sympathize with someone so different? Someone whose mind used to be just like yours, but has now veered off into the twilight zone. No matter what you say or do, stay, leave, turn cartwheels, throw yourself in the creek, the blank expression won't change. You don't mean anything to him. Nothing does. Never, ever, ever give up. You repeat that to yourself, even though it sounds about as possible as flap your arms and fly. You sit next to him silently. He doesn't move. You want him to know what you and Ms. Kruger talked about, and that he might fail 10th grade. You want to tell him that his teachers are concerned, but you can't bring yourself to say it. Maybe later. Maybe if he snaps out of whatever he's in. If he opens up just a little. Still here, guys, having a cheese and ham toast. Okay, ooh, that sounds good. No worries, I appreciate you. Appreciate you even if you weren't currently here. You sit for a long time, quietly watching the sunset until you realize you're starving and you convince Alex to ride home with you. Mrs. Snyder is at the door when you arrive. You can hear her scolding him as he walks in, but even from the sidewalk, you can see the relief on her face. Afterward, you're exhausted and your brain is overflowing with thoughts. You don't want to go home, not just yet, so you stop off here at Cosmo's. And you write, which makes you feel a little better. Very little. Give me 1 second. Oh, I need to get the puppies back. Hang on. Let me do a thing and then get the puppies back. How's everybody doing? These books are good, but they are quite a lot, so I like to check in. Just hang on, I'm missing something. Whoop. So I currently have a free little bit of time with Scribd, which is basically just Netflix for books. And I was hoping that I might be able to find the Marianne and the Playground, you know, the book that takes place while Dawn is visiting Stony Brook from her departure right after the baby was born in California Diaries. And so far, I can find like a bunch of the other books, but not that one. And I'm like, come on. I should go now in the hopes that I might sleep soon. Hope you sleep. Okay. Sit for a long time quietly watching the sunset until you realize you're starving and you convince Alex to ride home with you. Mrs. Snyder is at the door when you arrive. You can hear her scolding him as he walks in, but even from the sidewalk, you can see the relief on her face. Afterward, you're exhausted and your brain is overflowing with thoughts. You don't want to go home, not just yet. I forgot the cat. I forgot the dogs. Hang on. My Adderall is on back order, and we can all tell. Okay. If you're just joining us, instead of emotional support kittens like we usually do, Tex brought up the fact that it is National Puppy Day. So in honor of that, we are switching, just for funsies, to a puppy stream. Little puppy babies, look at them. This needs to be smaller though because I'm not gonna be able to see the book. Well, I'll be able to see. You won't be able to see. Here you go. I'm home and no longer have to wear other people will see me today clothes. Oh, I know that feeling very well. PJ time. PJ time is the best time of the day. exhausted and your brain is overflowing with thoughts. You don't want to go home, not just yet, so you stop off here at Cosmos and you write, which makes you feel a little better. Very little. But it sure was better than you feel right now. What a jerk. Cosmos? What were you thinking? You just sat there, scribbling away, not even looking at the time. Wake up, McCrae. It's not the Ducky and Ted show anymore. You're a family again. Well, you're gonna have to get... That's not your fault, because your parents were literally gone for... I don't know, how long were they gone? A year? The Ducky Diaries, those novels in the series, they look so small on the shelf, and you're like, why does Ducky get relegated to, like, these itty-bitty little books? And then you realize it's not. Like, they're the same word count, I think. It's just he writes in such tiny, scribbled handwriting, and it takes you just as long, if not longer, to read. I really struggle. It takes me a little longer to read these. So sorry, the Ducky Diaries are my favorite, because I love Ducky, but they're also, rough. Rough going, as far as just physically reading them. And your family eats dinner at 6 o'clock, always has, so when you walked in at 7:15 and Dad was standing in the kitchen doorway, tapping his foot and looking at his watch, what did you expect? Way to go, ruin everything. After Mom and Dad had planned a special family reunion celebration, vegetarian lasagna, sparkling cider, ice cream sundaes, your favorite dishes made especially for you. And you were at Cosmos. Yes, they're jet lagged. Yes, they were eating lunch during your breakfast, and they were asleep when you got home from school. It didn't occur to you that life would slip back into a normal routine so soon, but you could have called. You didn't have to act as if they were still in Ghana. And then when Dad yelled at you, did you apologize? No, you made excuses. You told them, Ted, and you never eat precisely at 6. You eat when you're hungry. 7:30, 9, midnight, whenever, which is not what they wanted to hear and just made the atmosphere worse. So even though you weren't hungry, you sat in the kitchen and ate leftovers while everyone else cleaned up, and Ted glared at you the whole time as if to say, how'd I get stuck with the dishes, which was ridiculous because you would trade places with him in a minute. Poor Ducky. After the cleanup, Mom and Dad sat with you while you finished eating. You apologized and they accepted it, but you could see they were hurt and you felt awful. Dad suggested another celebration tomorrow, this time at 8:15 after you finish work at Winslow Books. You agreed, and they actually tried to start a conversation to begin catching up on all the months they were away. But the phone began ringing for them, and it hasn't stopped since. Anyway, you're back in your room again. It's a chilly night, but you can't turn on the heat the way you normally would because the thermostat reads the thermostat reads 61 degrees, and Dad won't let you waste electricity unless it's under 60. You feel as if you're 10 years old and you've been sent to your room for bad behavior. Oh well, look at the bright side. For almost 24 hours, you've had something you were looking forward to, a real family again. Cherish those 24 hours. Value them. You took care of Mom and Dad at the airport. You took care of your ailing friend. You also alienated your parents, and you alienated your friend. Oh, and you probably flunked your math test. Guess you're batting 1,000, Ducky. Poor Ducky. Spend a year in a foreign country if you want your kids to behave the way you want them to, right? Oh, gross. Vegetarian lasagna. I wasn't going to say anything. I know some people really like vegetarian lasagna. It's nothing against vegetarianism, but to me, if there isn't meat in it, what's the point? Take your fucking kids with you, you stupid bitch ass. Right? Why didn't they just take the kids? Why? What? Oh, we wanted them to have a normal life. What? Being neglected? The fuck? I swear, parenting classes should consist of reading, like, 90s and 2000s, young adult literature and just spotting the errors. I swear to God. 12-3, lunch and loose ends. You meant to stop by Alex's on the way to school, but you didn't. Why? Because you were lazy, tired. You wanted a break from the intensity. Whatever. But Alex didn't show up at school. Hasn't been here all day long. You should have dragged him to school the way you did yesterday. You gave up, Ducky. You're not supposed to do that, remember? Now what? Do something, that's what. 35 more minutes until the end of lunch. Maybe I can find him. Maybe I should cut school myself. Ducky and Amalia need to just have a two-person therapy session about, like, not taking on other people's problems, because bless them, both of them are so sweet, and they think they can help everybody all the time, and they're just struggling. How dare you make us feel bad for leaving you on your own devices for too long, and he checking in on you or your brother the whole time. Yes, a normal life. No supervisor or parental guide. That's much better than flying your kids to another country. Oh, yeah. Much better than giving them you know how pissed I'd be if they're going to another country? Like, you could be teaching your kids about so many other cultures. Just bring them with you. South of psychology, east of self-help. The sections, that is. You're working tonight at Winslow Books. You figure if you stand here long enough, the vibes from the books will teach you something. Anyway, it's break time. You have 15 minutes, so write fast. Since we last spoke, 1, you didn't cut, you chickened out. 2, you didn't find Alex either. You called his house from a payphone at school, but no one answered. 3, you had some long overdue FaceTime with Sunny. Number 3 happened after school. You were freaking out because you wanted to stop by Alex's, but you only had 20 minutes to report to Winslow Books. Then you heard Sunny call out, "You're giving me a ride." Not a question, a command. You have to love her. She's so cool. You said, "My rates have gone up," but she ignored you and climbed into the passenger seat. Winslow Books, please, servant." "What's the occasion?" you asked, driving away. "Your dad hired you for the Christmas rush?" What, and scare away the customers? Nope, he's taking me to visit Dorian. Dorian? As in the picture of Dorian Gray, the picture that ages before your eyes? Are you talking about your mom? She calls herself that. You have to admit, Ducky, she does look about 100 years old. You bit your tongue. Something you can't believe. Sometimes you can't believe what comes out of Sunny's mouth. But that's Sunny. That's her style. Keep everyone off guard. Break down their barriers, laugh in the face of your troubles, use extreme humor if you have to, whatever keeps you going. You admire that kind of, but right then, you don't know how to respond. You were thinking there was something strange going on. Sunny almost always goes to the hospital alone, sometimes with a trusted friend, but never with her dad unless it's an emergency. Uh-oh. I don't like it. Mom's much worse, Sunny explained. It's just a matter of months, I guess. Maybe weeks. Some Christmas present, huh? She popped a stick of gum in her mouth and held the pack out to you. Want some? Sunny was trying to be cool, but her face and body were giving her away. She was coiled up, intense. Her eyes were slitted and anxious. You could tell she was scared out of her wits. "I could go with you," he volunteered. Sunny laughed. Right. Dad's probably already calculating how much business he'll lose by leaving the store. Don't be surprised if he chains you to the cash register. You pulled into the store parking lot. You expected Sunny to jump right out, but she didn't. She was looking down at the floor, gripping the dashboard. You put your hand over hers. "Good luck," you said. She whirled around, threw her arms around you, and gave you a kiss on the cheek. Then, without a word, she left the car. You caught up to her. Mr. Winslow was waiting by the front door, pacing, looking at his watch. He started barking out instructions to you. Clean up the spill in the children's book section. Open the 2 UPS boxes. Find another shelf for new age books. Make sure to obey the store manager while he's gone, etc., etc., etc. You watched him and Sunny walk away to his car. You wished there was something you could do, some way you could make it all better, but you knew there wasn't. It seems there never is. You're beat. You can barely hold a pen and it's bedtime, but your mind is zingy, so here goes. You worked at the store nonstop, very busy. You didn't notice Mr. Winslow come back around 7:15 because he was so quiet, which was totally weird. because he's always yelling about something. Thought he was in another world, wandering, reshelving books. Wait, let me try that again. Tonight he was in another world, wandering, reshelving books. Reading. Sonny wasn't with him. He'd taken her home. You finally worked up the courage to ask about his wife. He looked at you, really looked you in the eye for the first time since he'd hired you, and said in a soft voice, "You're kind to ask, Curtis. Period." Or, sorry, Chris. You're kind to ask, Chris. That's Ducky's real first name. Period. Nothing else, which just made you worry more. At 8 o'clock, you left and made sure to be home for family dinner, the sequel. It was hard to concentrate. You were thinking about Mrs. Winslow and whether or not you should call Sonny. Dad made a pretty good homemade pizza, and Mom passed around some just-developed photos that actually made the Ghana trip look like a good time. So you were all laughter and chatting, and it felt okay, like the old days, sort of. Ye older son, Ted, gave a boring yet corny toast, and Dad requested that we all have a little McCrae bonding time on Saturday, maybe a special trip or something. Cool, good idea. You kind of wish you had thought of a toast too, but you had a lot on your mind. After dessert, when Mom, Dad, and Ted went into the den to watch the tube, you went to the phone to call Sonny's house, then Alex's. No answer at either place. You left a message on their machines asking them to call back. It's now 10:47. Neither called. It's probably too late to call again. Mrs. Snyder and Paula are probably asleep. Mr. Winslow too. Chill, Ducky. Try again tomorrow. Ducky would know so many languages if his parents had 2 brain cells left together. That would be the plot of Mean Girls. Yes, right. Yeah. You guys could be living the plot of Mean Girls, but you're not. So what the hell? Tomorrow, also known as Friday, you call Alex, he's home, and the conversation goes like this. D, what's up? A, whatever. D, everything okay? A, I guess. D, coming to school? A, I have to. D, I'll take you. A, Mom's driving me. D, cool. That's what you love about talking to Alex. The repartee, the crackling wit. Oh well, at least he's not skipping school. In which Ducky sees a light at the end of the tunnel. Very faint, a suggestion of light. You spot Alex after homeroom. He's walking down the hallway, slowly slumped over, his shoulders practically pressed against the wall, his hair hanging down over his face. The usual. You catch up, say hi, talk a little. You know who I picture when I'm picturing Alex? I'm picturing a non-zombie version of that kid from... Do you guys remember when we did When Good Ghouls Go Bad, the movie? I also have the book, which I should read on stream sometime. But I'm picturing the kid before he died and got turned into a zombie, the main kid, the one that, the goth kid, the one that's like the moment at the end of the movie. I'm picturing him. You catch up, say hi, talk a little, then as you're about to part ways, here it comes. Drum roll, please. He says, what are you doing after school? Nothing. You say, you? He shrugs. I didn't know. I don't know. Want to hang? Sure. Ta-da! You never thought a question like that would make your day, but it does. Oh. You have seen the mountaintop, and it looks like the pits. After school, you wait for Alex by his locker. You haven't seen him since lunch. Miracle of miracles, he comes shuffling along, still in school after a full day. You call out to him, so where do you want to go? He looks a little confused. To hang out, you remind him? I don't know, drive around, I guess, he says. The park? Cool beans. You pack up your books. Alex isn't even bothering to touch his locker. No homework, you ask? No. Okay, fine. You walk out together. The moment you get through the door, you hear a loud quacking sound followed by, it's the Duckster! You turn to see Jay, grinning at you. His arm is around Lisa Bergnoli. Oh, that's not her name. Bergonzi. Marco Bardwell and Mad Moose McIver are there too. They're both snickering and communicating with each other with some prehistoric Cro Mag mutterings. You say hi and turn away. Hold it. Jay's running toward you now, looking all excited about something. Hey, Duck Boy, you remember Leanne? At the sound of Jay's voice, you see Alex's face tense. You are not thrilled because the name Leanne brings back a certain horrifying blind double date you would much, much rather forget. I know, I shouldn't have set you up with her, okay, Jay says. But listen, she has this cousin. She's visiting from Sweden for a week during Christmas vacation. Sweden, Duckington. And she's just like you, sort of shy and smart, and she doesn't have a boyfriend. I don't believe you're telling me this, you say. Why? I'm letting you know in advance. I don't like being set up at all, okay? Let Moose ask her out. Not my type, Moose mumbles. Not Ducky's type either, Marco cracks. And they both start guffawing as if it were the funniest joke in the world. Alex, Jay says hopefully, like he's auctioning off the girl to the highest bidder. Jesus Christ. Huh? Alex replies. Jay rolls his eyes. Forget it. With a big sigh, he swaggers back to his group. Ducky and Alex are happy just as they are, Moose says. The laughter creeps under your skin as you walk toward the parking lot. I used to like Jay, Alex mutters. He can be okay. You don't know why on earth you're defending Jay. You get in the car and cruise away from school. Alex is in a foul mood, not numb, not spacey, just foul. His arms are folded and he's glaring straight ahead. Where do you want to go, you ask? No place you can take me, he grumbles. What does that mean? You have no idea. You don't want to know. You're driving toward Las Palmas County Park, but you know that Jay and his friends are likely to show up there, so you switch directions and head to the Alta Maria Hills. As you approach the lot, Alex suddenly sits forward. Let's go rock climbing, he says. You're so stunned you nearly agree on the spot, but you think of all the stuff you need for rock climbing. You head home to get your mittens and ropes and friction shoes. You'll be another half hour closer to darkness. It's kind of late, you say. How about just a hike? We can go climbing on Sunday. Mom and Dad are taking Ted and me somewhere tomorrow. Whatever, Alex replies. The Alta Mira lot is almost empty. You park near the trailhead, and soon you and Alex are hiking up to the hill. You go side by side silently until the path narrows, then you pull ahead, far ahead, so when he cries out, Ducky, you can't see him. You race down, nearly tripping over a root. He's standing in the middle of the path, pointing into the woods. A coyote is loping among the bushes, sniffing and poking its snout between the rocks. The trace of a smile flickers across Alex's face. An earthling, he says. You can't believe this. He remembers. It's exactly the kind of stupid thing you used to say as... Oh God, I cannot read this. Cirque and Zila, aliens, life forms on their ever-reoccurring search for signs of human life. You were nerds, Ducky. Now the coyote is walking away with a Snickers wrapper in its mouth. See how tenderly it cares for its young, you say? Alex lets out a little laughter. Laugh-like exhalation. Throws his nose. Jesus Christ, this is really hard. Sorry, guys. Through his nose. And you realize this is the closest he's come to expressing an emotion in ages. You realize the good mood may not last long. This may be an opening. D. Alex? A. Yeah. D. So, feeling better today? A. Better than what? D. Deep breath. You seem different. In a good way, I mean. More like you. A. I'm always me. He starts hiking away. You follow. D. You know what I mean. The you before all the stuff happened. Stuff that made you have to go to Dr. Welsh. A. People changed. A. D. Alex, just out of curiosity, what do you do when you stay home from school? A. Sleep. D. Don't you sleep enough at night? A. I guess not. D. Because if If you did, you would go to school more often. A. Why should you care about that? Why shouldn't I? A. No one else does. D. Not true. Ms. Kruger does. Cringe, shrink, melt. Really, really dumb, Ducky. I mean, a lot of people probably do. A. Turns to look at you. Like who? Who else besides you and Ms. Kruger? D. Your friends, your teachers, probably. I mean, it's a big deal. You could be left back. Not that you would, but I wouldn't be too happy about that. A. Holding up his hand. Stop. Okay? Stop lecturing me. I'm sorry, I don't mean to. Everybody lectures me, Ducky. I don't need you to join in. D. I'm just trying to be a friend, that's all. A. Friends leave you alone. I thought you were a friend. You were the only one who let me be, Ducky, up until now. D. Okay. Okay, I'll stop. Alex walks away. You follow, and you feel like a total wimp. 10:21. Hello, everybody. Coming in, we're reading Ducky Diary 2, which is book number 10 out of 15 in the California Diaries. 10:21 p.m. Still wimpy. After all these hours, sleep. That's what Alex does when he's cutting school. How can a person sleep so much when you're depressed? It's amazing how much you can sleep when you're depressed. Does he need it? Does he have some kind of weird sleep disorder? Is that the problem? Maybe he can't help staying home from school. So go ahead and open your big mouth, Ducky. Tell him how to lead his life like you know everything. He was just starting to feel better. You could see it, and you set him back. Nice work. Easy, Ducky. Diet Coke. I'm always going to pick Coke products over Pepsi products. Because I'm just kind of annoying like that. "11:47 p.m. You're nuts. Alex doesn't have a sleep disorder. You're the one with the sleep disorder. Your mind is so full of nonsense you can't think straight. You did not say too much. The truth is, you didn't say enough. He wants you to be silent. He likes it because he doesn't challenge him, lets him think. Hey, it's all right to cut school and flunk out because Ducky doesn't mind. He doesn't think it's so bad, and he's my best friend. What you did was the opposite of friendship. You backed down, you apologized, you promised to keep all this to yourself. You were afraid to get him angry. You were afraid to let him yell and scream. Maybe he needs to be shaken a little by someone he trusts, someone who's not an authority figure. You let him stay right where he was in a rut. That's what you did wrong. I had Dr. Pepper. It's the best. I haven't had a Dr. Pepper in forever. Ignore that typo. Drop my phone. Either right. Well, technically, Daniel, Sprite is a Coke product. So if you're still taking Coke's side in the Coke versus Pepsi debate, but I know what you mean. Sprite is pretty good. 12:58 a.m. But he's shaky, unstable. If you yelled at him too much, maybe it would push him over the edge. 1:14. What's the difference? Either way, you messed up. You always mess up. You always choose the wrong thing to do. That's what they'll call the movie of your life. Do the wrong thing. Something a.m. Why can't I sleep? You know why I can't sleep. You're an idiot. You think you can handle this on your own? You can't. Talk to someone. Mom and Dad. No, they wouldn't be any help. That's correct. They wouldn't. Or Ted. Right. Sunny, she has enough problems. Maggie's busy all the time. Jay, haha, maybe Dawn or Amalia. Not Dawn. But they hardly know Alex. They don't need to hear all this. Guess what? You're all alone on this one, Ducky boy. No one to talk to, just like Alex. No, not really. Alex has you, but you don't have Alex. Oof. Unless it's cherry flavored, then Pepsi all the way. Pepsi did used to make like a lemon twist back in the day, and it was lemon twist Pepsi was genuinely great. I used to drink it when I would go to my grandmother's house. Greetings from the state of disbelief. You can barely open your eyes. The sun is killing you, but you have to wash up, eat breakfast, and get dressed. Your family outing is about to begin. To Disneyland. They have got to be kidding. Ooh, Disneyland. Ducky, I want to go to Disneyland. In the car. Don't know how long you'll be able to write. Dad's driving and you forgot to bring Dramamine. When you were 2, you loved Disneyland. 6, even 10, you must have gone there about 7,000 times before you hit your teens. It's not that you hate the place. You don't. But it's old now. You're old. You tried to give them a hint. Subtle little facial clues. Body language. Finally, you just said, Mom, we're not kids anymore. Of course not, Mom said pleasantly. We wouldn't leave kids home alone while we were in Ghana. Oh, don't start, Mom. Before I was alive, but I have heard the earful about Tab from others. Who doesn't want to go to... I would kill to go to Disneyland, Disney World, Universal Studios, any place. Ted called you an old fart. He loves the idea. Dad said, come on, Ducky, for old time's sake. Then you knew. It's some kind of retro, ironic nostalgia thing. You can understand that, sort of. Okay, attitude adjustment, McCrae. You can do it. Yippee. Main Street, USA. In line for great moments with Mr. Lincoln. Oh, dear. Ted was the one who suggested this. He's regressing. So's Dad. When we passed the old fire engine, he called out, Ducky! File tuck. Like you'd find it so cute to be reminded of what you said as a child in front of 5 dozen tourists who are probably wondering what 2 grown sons are doing in Disneyland with their parents. No one wonders what you're doing. Disneyland is fun no matter how old you are. No one's wondering that. You smiled and walked away. You sent him a telepathic anti-humiliation warning. You forgot to send them to Ted. Soon you were watching the barbershop quartet and they began singing along loud. While you backed away in horror, Dad egged him on and Mom pulled out her video camera to record him, all the while telling everyone in earshot about his upcoming show in college. Endure, Ducky, endure. Abe Lincoln had it worse at your age. He's about to tell you how for the 100th time. I will say, we don't have moments with Mr. Lincoln. We have the Hall of Presidents in Disney World, and it's pretty bad. Seen the videos. Oh boy. Yeah, sorry about that. I hope it's not distracting. It's just so that I can monitor because God knows. We don't know when my computer is gonna crash next. Waiting outside the enchanted tiki room. Another line. Screaming, squirming kids. Now Dad is pulling ping pong balls out of his pocket to do magic tricks. Why? Why? In which Ducky eats humble pie. Okay, you have to admit it. He isn't bad. No David Copperfield, but not bad. The kids loved him. They asked for autographs. Their parents took pictures. Then he gave you the ping pong ball, so you started doing tricks the way he taught you. What else could you do? Hey, it made the wait easier. Always did, even when you were a kid. The enchanted tiki room was anticlimactic. Maybe they should put some feathers on Dad and make him part of the act. The Tale of Wild Woman Mom, written aboard the Disney Railroad. She's brave. She's smart. She remembers what everyone likes. And she won't waver in her path to each ride in the right order. No, Herb. Ducky hates that ride. We have to go to Frontierland. Ted has to see the sailing ship. Save your appetite for the Blue Ribbon Bakery, guys. Not only that, folks, she remembers every event from every family trip. She'll tell you the things you've forgotten. Oh. Everyone just got home and it's Sergeant Ray here. Hi, Bernie. Disneyland is overpraised. There are too many long lines. Everything is overpriced. And the ride variety is non-existent. It's just a bunch of dark rides. I will say I've only been to Disneyland once and prefer Disney World. But yeah. If you're, yeah, it's a, yeah. I'm a bit of a big kid when it comes to amusement parks. I love Disney World and I love Universal. And I haven't been in like years. It's been years and years. One day I'll go back. We also just have more here though. Like there's just more space for Disney World. Never been to any Disney parks. Disney World just has more stuff because there's more space. Six Flags. Haven't been to a Six Flags in a while either. Six Flags is good. I feel like it's a little like... It's still overpriced, but it's not as like well done as like a Disney World or Universal, but it's still fun. Blasphemy. Knott's Berry Farmer Shot. Blasphemy. Is that saying, I don't know which what was blasphemy, but if it was me that said blasphemy, I'm sorry. Sorry. You once threw a tantrum in the Penny Arcade. A Pluto tier, or whatever they call those people in Pluto costumes, scared you so badly you shrieked until you fell asleep in your stroller from exhaustion. You used to have nightmares about the Pirates of the Caribbean, and for months afterward, anyone with an eye patch made you cry. Oh. Oh, saying that Disneyland is bad. Tex and I are just like, where? Can we go to Disneyland? Can we go to Disney World? Where can we go? I just realized every time I see this on the shelf, the way that it looks, at first glance, I always think he's wearing like a tux. But he's just wearing a button-down shirt in this up here, but my eyes always see this and like self-insert some kind of like bow tie. It's odd. When you mention Haunted Mansion, she says, Ducky, are you sure you want to go in there? As if you're still scared of it. Ted's teasing her. That's okay. Mom's cool. She can take it. She's got this barbershop quartet singing debut on tape. Blackmail is the best revenge. Frontierland, Tom Sawyer Island. The caves have gotten so much smaller. So have the keelboard boats. And you can't actually steer them with poles. Didn't you used to be able to do that? Or did you just imagine it? The way you imagined you were Davy Crockett and Alex was Mike Fink battling it out on the river. Or did Alex play Davy when you were Mike? Whatever. Like those bowling shirts that Charlie Sheen wears. It does. It does. I was downloading files. Everybody can see it's not, there's no issue on my end, is there? Just checking. See you real soon. Why? Because we like you. And so, the McCraes depart the kingdom. Bellies full, smiles on their faces. How was it? Weird, fun, wrong, right. Ted's happy he met a girl and got her phone number. Mom and Dad left the park holding hands and smiling. You didn't mind it overall. Tomorrowland was a little tough. That was Alex's fave, especially Spice Mountain. You felt a little guilty that you didn't ask him to come along, but don't kid yourself. He would have said no. Besides, this was a family outing. You need them once in a while. All right. '50s hipster. Yeah, he does. Just like Ducky from Pretty in Pink, where he gets his nickname from. Reading live stream on Instagram. I don't really do. I have an Instagram. It's really just my personal Instagram that I started plugging when the channel started being a thing. I don't really make content for Instagram. Mostly just because Instagram is the worst platform right now to be making content 4. It's not a really great algorithm over there. Got some new pins for my pin collection, and I'm kind of obsessed with them. Sorry if you see me looking up. I don't see another cockroach. I'm just looking at my pins going, oh, some cool new pins that I got. Sunday, writing fast. In Alex's room alone. He's in the shower. He was supposed to be ready for rock climbing by 9:30. You got here on time, but Mrs. S told you he was asleep. You go and wake him. I can't. You climbed up here. You knocked and opened the door. The smell hit you first. Musty, stuffy, like he hadn't opened a window in ages. You couldn't believe your eyes. Piles of clothes, scattered papers, magazines, empty cups, dishes, pigsty. Worse than Ted. Alex was never neat, but he never used to let things get this bad. You woke him up. He seemed surprised to see you. Then he apologized and slouched into the bathroom to get ready. You felt sorry for him, so you started to clean up. No big deal. A little pile management, floor liberation. A jeans jacket was on the floor, scrunched by the foot of the bed. So you picked it up. Oh, easy. Come on. Yes, we usually have emergency kittens. We usually go code level kitten when we get to a really sad book. But today is National Puppy Day, so we've gone code level puppy to spice it up today. Doggos, look how cute they are. Recently active on my Insta. Whatever. Yeah, I mean, if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's I'm over there at someone called Avery, all lowercase, all together. And I'll be sure to follow you back. Anybody in chat, you're welcome to follow me on Instagram. Don't know how much I'll post, but occasionally I'll post. I mostly use it just for messaging purposes. Sometimes people send me requests and stuff over there, that kind of thing. And a bottle fell out. A fifth of vodka, half empty. You bent down to pick it up, and you saw another one, totally empty, under his bed. You put the jacket back with the bottle. Now what? You are freaked. Should you tell him? Even though he wants you to lay off, what should you... Alex Part 2, at the Montfort Quarry, between a rock and a hard place. Quite literally, probably. Back again, had to stop writing because you heard the shower turning off. You're alone here for a few minutes. Alex is off to the convenience mart to get some sports drink and trail. Orp? Wait, I cannot read his handwriting. It's really difficult, my guy. Ducky, my boy. Glad to see you here. How's your day going? We're reading Ducky Diary 2. It's book 10 in the California Diaries series in our quest to cover all 15 books. You hope that's all he's getting. You didn't write that. Bad things to say, Ducky, about your best friend. But you can't help it. How can you trust him now? You try to be close. You open yourself up. You let him confide in you. You ask him what's wrong. You give him every chance to tell the truth, and he tells you nothing's wrong. Nothing concrete. It's depression he's dealing with, when all along that's not it at all. He has a drinking problem. You know, it's probably both all at once, honestly. And you can think, and all you can think is, why didn't I guess this? The slurry speech, the tiredness, the depression. It makes sense because alcohol is a depressant, isn't it? Then he walks into the room, his hair still wet from the shower, and you're sitting on the bed, arms folded like a guilty little kid who's done something wrong. He's groggy, yawning. He looks around the room. You cleaned up, he says. I'd forgotten what color the carpet is. You didn't have to clean up. Things will just fall back into a mess. His eyes fix on the jeans jacket. Out of the corner of your eye, you see that the top of the bottle is sticking out. Stupid. You were too rushed to be too careless. You found the bottles, he says, but he sounds calm. 15 minutes for lunch. Then my first ever graveyard shift. Yay, good luck. Have fun. Don't die. I always say that. Sorry if that sounded morbid. I always say good luck, have fun, don't die. But he sounds calm. Matter of fact, you stammer and sputter. No big deal, he says. I've always had them around. Haven't opened them for ages. You don't believe him for a minute. You didn't talk about it on the way here, but you haven't stopped thinking. Alex makes no sense. You didn't know him anymore. You don't know what to expect. The possibilities? 1, he wanted you to find out. He knew that if you came to the house, he'd be asleep and you'd have to wake him up, and once you were in his room, you'd see the bottles. It's his way of crying for help. 2, he didn't mean for you to see them. In fact, today's plan, the rock climbing, is to convince you he doesn't have a problem anymore. He wants to fool you into thinking he's getting better. Then you won't bother him so much. Do my best. Yay, doing your best is the best that you can do. 3, he is getting better. He hasn't touched the bottles in a long time, and he wants to go rock climbing. 4, none of the above, or parts of all. Okay, nothing you can do now, except climb. Try to enjoy it, the way you used to. I know he's writing this either before or after the climb, but I'm just picturing him, like, climbing and writing at the same time, and that image just makes me laugh. It's the only athletic thing you and Alex were ever good at. Just make sure the ropes are secure and the pittons are tight. And trust him, you have to. The rocks are pretty steep. One false move and you could be in serious trouble. Sunday night, still alive. Alex comes back from the convenience mart. Oh yeah, he was writing while he was waiting for him to go get a snack. You load up the snacks and drinks. You double check your Polaroid camera to make sure it has film, and you start up the rock. Right away, you know this isn't going to be easy. You're worried, not about yourself, but about Alex. You choose your handholds extra carefully. You jam your pittons extra securely. You make the first climb while Alex waits. You call, on belay, loud and clear. No room for error. Then, when it's Alex's turn, you hold on for dear life. His and yours. One slip and you bear all the weight. You're the only one keeping you both anchored to the earth. You watch his every move. You try to anticipate every change in direction, every shift of weight, just like life. Think about it. You're holding on for 2, never letting up, whether Alex is moving or slipping or standing still, knowing that whether or not he makes it depends on you. The difference is you reach a peak at the end of a climb, you rest. You're bruised and aching and tired, but you feel great. And your ropes are intact. Strong, not frayed. You wish life were that simple. Just got home, it's hailing. Ooh! Labrador retrievers are cute and friendly, but not the brightest dogs around. Coming from experience, my old neighbor had some labs. They were kind of derpy. He's not a lab, we don't think. We actually don't really know. He's like a shepherd retriever mix. He is such a derpy little dog, and we love him, but he is head empty, no thoughts, just vibes. I didn't have a Joan Crawford quote on my bingo card, but California Diaries tends to do that. I mean, I know we usually go kitten cam. We usually go code level kitten. But today is apparently National Puppy Day. So we decided to switch it up and go for puppies today. Look how cute they are playing with their toys. And I just put it on right from the beginning because it's just getting to that part of the story. It's that part in the arc where it's just like, yep, we need them. No real getting around that. Anyway, Whoop, my phone died. My battery said 0%, and I was like, well, that's not good. You're seen feud bad. No, I haven't, but I need to. Anyway, you make the climb. You scramble over the crest and help Alex pull himself up. You're exhilarated. You feel invincible. Alex is taking off his gear, looking back down the rock. The smog has lifted and the air is sweet and cool. Time for a photo op. You wedge your camera in the crook of a tree and set the self-timer. Quick, you run to Alex and pose your arms around his shoulder. No, Ducky, too late. The camera snaps. As you run to see the picture, Alex sits on a flat rock and pulls his food from his pack. You watch the image appear. Next to your grinning jack-o'-lantern face looks washed out and next to your grinning jack-o'-lantern face, Alex looks washed out and ghostly, as if he's seeing something through the camera lens that you can't see. Something terrifying. You pocket the photo and move to sit near him. He's staring out over the valley, the breeze sweeping back his hair. He doesn't ask about the snapshot. D, with a deep, satisfied sigh. Isn't it great? A, as good as it gets, which isn't too good. D, hey, come on, we did it. We're sitting at the top. This is what matters. A, nothing matters. D, that's just not true, Alex. So much matters. A, like what? D, this is hard. Like friends, all of them, who doesn't seem to be doing all one of them who doesn't seem to be doing a great job. Family, what's left of it. Simple stuff, the smell of the morning air through your bedroom window, the end of school on Friday, the beach on a weekend, a drive along the coast. A, you're a hopeless optimist. D, I have my ups and downs, but I keep my eyes open. I let the good things in. What's wrong with that? A, whatever gets you through the night. I just realized that Ducky McCrae has big Randy Disher energy from Monk, and I love that for them. A, whatever gets you through the night. D, what gets you through the night, Alex? A, you don't want to know. D, what does that mean, Alex? Look where we are. You wanted to do this. You suggested it. Are you so depressed you can't enjoy this? Is it like a tape running in your brain? No matter what, I will be gloomy. Just turn it off for a moment. Let your senses take over. Look at the view. Feel the breezes. This is it, Alex. This is life. If you can't enjoy this, what's the point? Uh-oh. Alex nods, then softly under his breath. Yep, what's the point? That hits you hard. It makes you think. It brings up the unanswered questions hidden away in the back of your mind since Jay's party. Why did he hide himself in a locked bathroom that night? And why was he fully clothed in the tub with the shower running? Even back then, you had a suspicion. You must have, because you didn't want to let him out of your sight, and even after you left, you watched from outside the house until his bedroom light was out, and you were reasonably sure he'd gone to sleep. And now you have to face it. At the rock summit with your lifeline still tied and unfrayed, you have to ask him. You wait until you're back in the car during driving down the freeway with your windows open and the radio off. B, Alex, when you say nothing matters, you're not speaking literally, right? A, huh? D, like it doesn't mean you would want to stop living. A, I know there's a lot of trigger warnings, but I'm going to just vocalize another one just right now, just because it's getting very scary. Daniel. Ducky, I love you, but you fucked up. Ducky does not know how to do this, and he's trying really hard. I'm not going to fault him, but yeah, just for the future reference, if you know anybody who's going through what Alex is going through, this is not the good strategy. Good night, Texas. Thank you for hanging with us. We appreciate you. Sweet dreams. Have a good day tomorrow. Hey, snapping around to face you. No, what's with you, Ducky? You think just because there's no reason to live, a person should want to kill himself? D. No, I was speaking theoretically. A. I mean, that's the last thing I would do. D. Okay, Alex. Okay, you just said some stuff that concerned me. A. I mean, just because there's no reason to live doesn't mean there's a reason to die. D. Right. I won't mention it again. A. Don't even think about it. Alex flicks on the radio. You drive home to the top 40 countdown, feeling much better. This was what, 98? 99? What was on the top? Other books by Anne M. Martin. The woman has written a lot of books. 1998. Somebody look up the top 40 charts in December of 1998. I want to know what kind of music we're talking about when we say we drive home to the top 40 countdown. When you vocalize the trigger word, I was rewinding when the teacher... Reminded of when the teacher would read To Kill a Mockingbird. Now, class, I'm going to read a word that is offensive for education purposes. Look, I'm the big sister. I will always have the big sister energy. I don't fault him at all. He's a child, and this isn't his job to keep Alex alive, but, like, he still did fucked up. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, you and I are 100% on the same page, dude. The stars at night, gleaming bright, deep in the heart of Texas. I just realized as I was reading that it was a song and that I don't actually remember how that song goes. How could you have asked him that, Ducky? Drive home, feeling much better. How could you have asked him that, Ducky? Okay, you feel like you're attached to him, like you have to pull the weight of two, but cut the guy some slack. You're on solid ground now. Monday, study hall. Can we all just say thank God for Alex's sake that the Tumblr era hadn't happened yet? Because you want to talk about being bad for a teenager's mental state. Sincerely, a Tumblr teenager. He wasn't at his locker this morning, not at lunch either. After lunch, you saw Miss Kruger in the hallway. You turned and went to class the long way. You couldn't face her. You knew she was going to ask how Alex is doing. As if you have any idea. Oh, give me a second. And now, a word from our sponsor, you, Ducky, the guy whose name is on the front of this journal, whose life is supposed to be chronicled faithfully here. Forgot about him, huh? Forgot to mention you managed to pass the math test last week. Congratulations. Thank you. As usual, you're so wrapped up in Alex, you don't even think of yourself. School today, you give Amalia a ride home, and she's talking away, mentioning something about Maggie and her new therapist, and that makes you think about Dr. Welsh and your rock climbing trip and the fact that Alex wasn't in school today. And as you pass the turnoff to his house, you start debating whether you should call him or pay a visit, and suddenly you notice the car is silent. Ducky, are you okay? Amalia asks. Yep, fine. Do you need to talk? Yay, Ducky and Amalia, emotional support. Please talk to Amalia, buddy. You're so preoccupied you didn't hear the words right. Most specifically, the word you. Somehow you're hearing he, meaning Alex, and you reply, he does really badly, but I think he stopped seeing his therapist. Amalia is looking at you weirdly. Not Alex, you. You laugh and say, no, not me, not good old Ducky. I don't need to talk, I'm fine. I just have my head in the clouds, that's all. Because what else can you say? I think my best friend is an alcoholic depressive who hates life. No, it wouldn't be fair to put that on her, and it certainly wouldn't be fair to Alex. So you chat about, there's a lot of, you've definitely met an alcoholic depressive in your life. You just don't know it. There's a lot of people, unfortunately, that deal with that. So you chat about nothing, and you drop her off, and you pretend it's a happy day. It's not until you're around the block that you start realizing how good it would feel to talk to Amalia, to anyone about all this. Go to therapy, please. And because you don't, because you can't, you feel rotten and alone. Just the right mood for your shift at Winslow Books. On the way to the store, you stop at Alex's. Paula answers the door and tells you he's asleep, so you say goodbye and head to the store feeling relieved that at least he's there, although you can't imagine where else he'd be. Alex speaks. You catch him on the phone after dinner. A, what's up, Ducky? D, hi, nothing. I mean, I didn't see you today at school and I figured I'd call. A, uh-huh. D, so I'm calling. Are you okay? A, as much as I ever am. D, I thought maybe you pulled a muscle or something in the climb. My legs sure are killing me. A, long pause. I'm fine. D, you're fine? That's fine. I'm fine too. Great vocabulary, McCrae. A, Ducky, you don't have to do this. D, what? Check up on me. One mother is enough. Just let me have my space. D, okay. You're upbeat, you understand, but you want to smack yourself because you're making Alex sick of you, and why shouldn't he be when you're hovering over him and questioning his every move, and you realize once again that you better wake up. This is your life, so, my life. Let's see. It's 56 degrees outside. The math homework is impossible. My sneakers are wearing out. It's almost bedtime, thank God. Sandy cheeks. It's not fair to put on you either, Ducky. Throttles fictional child affectionately. Yes. We are all the big brothers, sisters, and non-binary siblings of Ducky now because he desperately needs it. Okay. Up after midnight. This is beginning to become a habit. Well, same. Well, bedtime came and went, and you sat there and tried to think of something else to write, but you couldn't, so you read and listened to the so you read and listened to the radio until you were bored and thirsty, at which point you headed for the kitchen. Lo and behold, Ted was there, sneaking a dish of ice cream, and you grunted hello. T, can't sleep, huh? D, nope. T, girl trouble? Please. D, not exactly. T, well, what exactly? D, nothing. T, come on, bro, what's on your mind? And suddenly, you felt like you know who, all bottled up with nowhere to go, which was stupid because Ted seemed to be in a decent mood. The kitchen was quiet, and you felt comfortable in a way you hadn't felt since before Mom and Dad returned, as if the house was yours again, just the two of you shooting the breeze at midnight. You got a glass of water, sank into a kitchen chair, and began talking, keeping it light, skimming the details, not wanting to bore him, until you realized this is your brother, and he's bored you plenty over the years, and if you can't talk to him, who then? So you unloaded. You talked about Alex's moods, Alex's absences from school, the rock climbing incident, the way your life had become consumed by Alex's problems. D, my best friend is being sucked into his own private black hole, and I'm diving in after it. My other best friends are all 8th grade girls, and I can't talk to them about this, so I keep it to myself, and it affects everything in my life. School, my friendships. T, and then in the middle of all this, Mom and Dad come home. D, right, I felt so strange at the airport, picking them up. Uncomfortable. Same thing at Disneyland. I mean, I should be happy. They're home. We're going to be together for Christmas. T, well, life is sometimes like that. D, my life anyway. T, hey, I feel strange about Mom and Dad too. I felt especially strange at Disneyland. D, you didn't seem that way. You were acting like a little kid. T, overcompensation. That's like an exaggerated reaction to cover up how you're really feeling. You'll learn about that in Psych 101. Thank you, Dr. Freud. Yeah, trust me, Ducky knows about covering up his feelings. He doesn't need Psych 101. He's fine. D, so that was an act? Auntie, sort of. I mean, I feel weird even now. Listen to us, all whispery and quiet. A week ago, we'd be in here crashing around, not worrying about waking anyone up, not caring about who will notice the food missing from the fridge. It's different now. Ever since that conversation, you've been thinking about that difference. Part of you wants everything to be the same. Mom, Dad, Ted, Ducky, Apple Pie, Disneyland. But you know it can't be that way again. Not totally. Before Mom and Dad came home, you'd gotten used to a new life. Independent, free. You hate to admit it, but part of you is looking forward to their next trip. Tuesday, 12/8, study hall. 3 tests Friday. You thought they weren't supposed to schedule so many in one day. Big trouble, have to cut this short. BTW, Alex in school today. Hooray. Didn't say much to you, though. Looked tired as usual. Late night ramblings, half open eyes. Do teachers have to consult with each other when they're doing their tests so that the kids don't get too many tests? I never thought about that. I guess that makes sense. Non-performative adult figures in his life, right? What are you drinking? I'm drinking hot chocolate. And I'm one of those annoying people that puts chocolate chip. Well, maybe actually I'm the only person that I know that does this. I put chocolate chips in the bottom of my hot chocolate and let them melt. So that's all gooey. Which is why I especially love this mug that that Paulo sent me, because it has a little spoon. And a lid to keep it hot. And I'm not sure exactly what part of the world popularized and makes use out of this specific style, but I will say I love it very much. Mom and Dad, wait, late night ramblings, half open eyes. Mom and Dad, so quiet during dinner. Dad's mad, I think, don't know why. More details as they become available. I use hot water as opposed to milk, and then add coffee, creamer, and marshmallows marshmallow in a jar. Spencer does. That's you make hot chocolate pretty much the same way my brother makes hot chocolate. I assume marshmallow in the jar. You mean like fluff? We call it fluff here. If so, then you and Spencer make it exactly the same. Nice. I love it, Paulo. Thank you. Double chocolate. Nice. I got root beer and honey. I should be drinking water, but I'll drink some water once I get off stream. Yes. Yeah. Just making sure we're talking about the same thing. I'm told that marshmallow is a really good natural remedy for sore throats, but I don't know. I've never tried. When I get sick with a sore throat, it's usually so bad that nothing helps. Midweek checkup, or the remains of a once vital youth. Ducky, we hardly knew ye. Studied till 11:30 last night. Ouch, you feel like dry toast today. Saw Alex at lunch. He must not have seen you. He came in late and took a seat alone by the window. You had dessert with him, but he was very quiet, so you didn't force the conversation. When you went to your separate ways afterwards, he didn't even say goodbye. On your way to class, you ran into Sunny, who looked worse than you. She was even more off the wall than usual. Loud jokes, under-the-breath insults, sudden space-outs. Poor thing. Her mom's really deteriorating. It's hard to find out exactly how much. Sunny's not giving any straight answers. But you were worried, so you tracked down Dawn after study hall and asked if she knew anything. Dawn knows nothing. Sunny doesn't confide in me anymore, she replied. Well, you wish they would patch things up. Sunny desperately needs a best friend, don't we all? Thursday, there's no place like homeroom. Who is Dad to lecture you about bedtimes and study habits? Now that they're home, now you're supposed to suddenly revert to childhood. Get into your jammies and brush your toofies and kiss before the little hand reaches the 9. You tried to be calm about it. You are a reasonable guy. You explained that 10:45 wasn't too late for a good night's sleep, and you only had 20 more pages to read, and besides, You'd stayed up late other nights this week. Why? The explosion. Why? Something's up. Mom and Dad are arguing behind closed doors, whispering, hissing. Maybe they're still having trouble adjusting to the return. Welcome to the club. There's a consistent way to ease sore throats. That's good to know. No, peanut butter and marshmallow is my brother's like snack of choice. In a soda the whole day till now. Surprised I'm still alive. Drinking water now. Yeah, hydrate. All of soda and coffee are both dehydrating, so you might want to put some water back in. I've been putting electrolyte packets in my water and it's been helping me. I feel better. Social studies. Well, it says stud, but social studies. You were walking head down through the main hall, lost in your own world when you smelled cigarette smoke. You looked up and you were in the mood to blast somebody, to ask the idiot if he could read the signs, and you were practically face to face with Mrs. Snyder. She just walked through the front door and she was stubbing the butt out in the ashtray. In an ashtray. Hi, you said. Hi, she said. You probably didn't stand there very long. It just seemed that way because you felt so awkward seeing her in the middle of the school day. So you just nodded and moved on while she disappeared into Mrs. Dean's office. Terrific. Alex had become an official case. Reflections on a Lousy Day, written at Winslow Books. He totally ignored you at the lockers. You sat with him at lunch, a half hour of slow chewing and window gazing. You mentioned you saw his mom. You asked if he saw her. Shrug, shrug. Finally, you asked, are you mad at me about something? He didn't answer. He stood up and left. How much of this can you take? Never give up. Never? Even good old Ducky has limits. TGIF, because, you know. Sometimes I buy fluff and eat it by the spoonful. I do that with, no, actually I don't. I don't do that anymore. I used to do Nutella, but that's really bad. I at least put it on bread now. No, Ducky's great. We love Ducky. Ducky's just really going through it and has way too much responsibility put on him to be a literal 16-year-old, and we just are just like, Ducky, you have to see this. But no, Ducky is still one of my children. I've got Axe from Animorphs, and I've got Ducky from California Diaries. You need a weekend. That is. Oh, YANA stands for you need a weekend. Your chemistry exam is a killer. English and French are no day at the beach either. In between, you eat lunch by yourself. Alex at another table. Fine. Unfortunately, Marco and a bunch of Cro Mags sit at the table, not the same Marco as Animorphs. That's tomorrow night. Sit at the table next to you and start quacking and making stupid comments, turning your lunch into sheer mystery. When the bell rings, you're out of there, but as you're rounding the corner to class, you feel two hands reach around your face and cover your eyes. You lurch away. You hate their idiotic pranks, and you hate the fact that ruining your lunch isn't enough, that they have to follow you into the hallway and continue their torture, and you're ready for anything, an egg shampoo, a ridiculous hat, a fight, but it's Dawn. And, worse than Cro Mags, it's Dawn. And behind her is Maggie, holding a flower, and Amalia with a small box of chocolates. Don't do that again! Great, Ducky. Dump on your pals. I mean, you scared me. Dawn looks shocked. Sorry. We were going to hold you hostage, Amalia explains. Force you to endure flowers and chocolate. We thought you needed it, Maggie adds. You feel like a total jerk. You try to smile, but it feels phony. Thanks, guys. I mean, if you don't like chocolate, I'll eat it, Amalia says. It's a joke, you tell yourself to lighten up. Whatever, you say, you can have it. Excuse me, sir, Amalia says. What have you done with good old Ducky? Good old Ducky. Good old used up Ducky. Poor Ducky. Ducky could use a holiday to de-stress and not worry about stuff for a while. Yeah. Discovering Ducky, a journey to the wild, screaming beaches. You wind your way among the marauding rollerblades. You shield yourself from the blazing sun. You risk bruise and blister on the sand and jetties. And finally, you find him. Here on the farthest rock, away from the noisy crowd. He's floating high over the silver blue ocean. He's crawling into a cool crevice with the starfish. He's billowing into the sail of a distant catamaran, and he's riding the waves in the wake of the surfers. You can't really see him. He's not a person, but you wish he were. He's a lot of things you want to be. He's alone, he's free, he's not afraid, and he knows what's important. Sunday, discovering Ducky 2. You fix pancakes for the whole family. Mom is blown away. Dad smiles for the first time since, Tuesday. Ted says you should have put raisins in the pancakes. Tedward! Ted? How dare you say such a thing? That's blasphemy. But you take it in stride, cool and good-humored. A rising tide lifts all boats. Next, you call Alex. He can avoid you all he wants. He can be mad at you. He can even end the friendship, but he has to talk to you first. That's all you ask. Mrs. Snyder says he's not home. He left on his bike somewhere. You have a hunch where. You find him at Las Palmas County Park at your old spot near the creek. You say hi, and he says nada. You fight the impulse to spin away and head right back over the bridge. You drop your bike and sit next to him. D, is it something I ate? A, frowning. What? D, you've been avoiding me all week. A, oh, that, sorry. D, body odor then. My political beliefs. A, no smile, no surprise. I just wanted to be alone, that's all. D, you can't. I won't let you. A, Ducky. D, do you feel better when I'm not around? Do I make you feel worse? A, no, but... D, I'm sorry. I try too hard, okay? But you know what? You ought to be glad you have a friend like me. You ain't never had a friend, never had a friend. You ain't never had a friend. Sorry. A, I am glad. D, good. So let me do what friends are supposed to do. Talk to me. Stop telling me nothing's wrong. I'm concerned about you. I don't know if you're seeing Dr. Welsh anymore. I don't know if you're even trying, but I want to help. Alex, let me. Life is too short to waste away. A, mumbles. Not short enough. D, Alex, stop it. You scare me when you say that. You're practically shouting. He doesn't realize how powerful those words are. A, okay, Ducky. Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm just having a bad week. That's all. And I am seeing Dr. Welsh. D, do you talk to him about how you're feeling? A, sure, but I get kind of talked out. That's why I'm so quiet. So don't worry, okay? You nod. But you're not reassured. You want to trust him, but that's become impossible to do. Part of you thinks he's telling you what he thinks you want to hear just to shut up. And that part of you is mad. But you don't know. You just don't know. Well, I'll be here, you tell him. You're not going to get rid of me that easily. Alex nods and smiles faintly. I hope not. Oh. Ted deserves the electric chair for that. hurts. Holy fuck. Right? Thank you for being angry with me. I appreciate this. Your chair. Yes, Ducky, acknowledge your self-worth. Yes. Holiday Madness at Winslow Books. That's the sign in the window. Couldn't they have come up with something better? It feels weird being here on a Monday, but at school today, Sunny asked you to sub for her. She caught you in a rare good mood. Why? Because you squeaked by with a 78 on the chem and you managed to be on the English. You'll find out about French domain. So you told Sunny, of course you'll work, but only until 5:30 because dinner's supposed to start early tonight. Dad has called a family meeting. One can only guess the reason. They decided to relocate to Palo City permanently. They want Ted and me to move out. They were planning another nostalgic family trip to the Palo City Nursery School playground. We're all getting... I still can't say it, I'm so sorry. Bauxite in our stockings for Christmas. You're tingling with anticipation. I will put that meme in the Discord for anyone curious. Patient. P.S. Alex news. He was in school today, spaced out as usual. Although he seemed pretty upbeat for him, he actually smiled at you. He mentioned how quiet his house will be tonight because Paul is going to a sleepover party at a friend's. That's the first he's even mentioned his sister in ages. As you saw of him before you rushed off to Winslow Books, he was cleaning out his locker. You're not going to get too excited, though. Don't jump to conclusions, like your talk yesterday actually influenced him. He probably just lost something. And the hits keep coming. That's what it feels like. Another hit to the jaw. How can they do this? They gave birth to us. They wanted to form a family. What's the point of a family if you can't stay together? Oh, they're leaving again. What's so special about Ghana? Does anybody else have a bad feeling that Alex is gonna try to self-delete again, and this is like the he knows what he's gonna do, and the uptick before the I don't know, I hope I'm wrong. Dog, yes, look at the puppies. Look at the cute puppies. What's so special about Ghana? We were supposed to have Christmas together. You were looking forward to it. You were going to buy a new botanically correct plastic tree this weekend. Shop for gifts. Now what? What can you buy the parents who have everything, who face the irresistible temptation of exciting research opportunities in exotic lands? So exciting that they have to hold a family meeting to announce the glad tidings of their imminent departure. And oh, by the way, hold that cheer and 86 the tree, Christmas has been postponed until further notice. You should have known when you got home from work and saw that the dining room table had been set up. No kitchen table dinner for news like this. No, sir. Yikes. Struggling to climb out of the pit. I hope that's true. I hope that's good. This book series has just put me through a lot, and I'm concerned. They're going back to the same place. Yes, they are. They're going back to Ghana. You wish you had suspected because you might have thought of an intelligent argument. You might have somehow convinced them that they were doing the wrong thing, that I wouldn't kill them to wait until spring or summer, or just find a job close to home for God's sake, but you didn't. Instead, you just blurted out, "You're leaving before Christmas? You're not even going to be here for that?" Which only made them defensive, and Dad went on and on about how this was a once-in-a-lifetime chance, and hey, the trip's not going to be too long. really, and just 2 or 3 months, and afterwards, they'll be home for a long time. Besides, Grandma and Grandpa would love to have you and Ted to Pasadena for Christmas. They'll spoil you silly. It's not the same, you said. Now Dad was sweating, and Mom was looking all concerned, but their firm voices and pitying eyes meant they'd talked it out, weighed the options, maybe even reserved the tickets, and probably during all of those whispered conversations you heard behind doors that were shut solid because your opinion doesn't count. Oof. I'm also worried in that way. Yeah. They're having a family affair. They're seeing another family. Oh, God. Stupid All About Me victim playing Europe hating Dawn. Yeah, we do, unfortunately. And you knew that arguing was no use, that you were too emotional, you weren't going to convince them of anything, and the best you could do was make them feel awful. Which you did, and that was just fine. So what are you doing? Sitting up here in your cramped little room, writing your guts out, while Ted and Mom and Dad mumble downstairs, you are out of here. Monday night, crossed out, Tuesday morning, whatever. Why do things happen the way they do? Why do you have arguments that make you think the world is coming to an end? And your own trivial, stupid self-pity makes you run away to a place where the end of the world rushes up to meet you. Was it fate that you went to Alex's after you left your house? Or had you known, had you read between the lines and anticipated? I'm gonna do it every time. What had happened? No, don't give yourself too much credit. You just wanted to see him, that's all. You thought that somewhere deep inside he'd understand how you'd felt. How he was feeling hadn't entered your mind at all. You just rang and rang and rang, but no answer. You remembered that Mrs. Snyder had a book discussion group on Monday night. Somewhere in the neighborhood, Paula was at her sleepover. Alex asleep, probably. So you stomped back out to the car, still angry at Mom and Dad. You almost drove away, but the noise stopped you. For a moment, you put aside your rage and listened. A car engine. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Just got nothing to say at the moment. That's fine, Bernie. I appreciate you being here. I don't know how to tell you this. We're seeing another family for just pennies. Oh my God. Their parents are like, I think we should see other people. But we're our parents still. I mean, Ducky really could go and get new parents. Europe. Sonny hates me. I don't care about anyone but me. I was looking for it on Scribd. I can't find it on Scribd, so I'll just have to keep looking for a physical copy of the playground fight, but I'll find it one of these days. This is another big trigger warning, because I'm afraid I have a bad feeling that I was right. It sounded funny, muffled. It was coming from the Snyder's driveway, but the driveway was empty, and the garage door was closed. Your mind blanked, but your body reacted. You shot out of the car, bolted up the driveway, grabbed the garage handle, and pulled. It was locked, so you pounded hard, but the only answer was the soft purr of the engine beyond the door. You raced to the Snyder's back door and yanked up the welcome mat. You grabbed the spare key and ran back to the garage door and opened it. Fumes, exhaust everywhere. Your eyes itched, your lungs filled. You squinted, coughing. Through the haze, you spotted the car door handle, so you pulled it. The door swung open. Smoke wafted out, revealing a leg. Alex's. He was sprawled across the back seat. You dived in. You put your hand on his chest. It was rising and falling, slowly. Thank God. You reached over the seat, turned off the ignition, then hooked your arms under his and pulled him out onto the lawn away from the exhaust. You checked for a pulse there, but barely. Next you knew, you were in the kitchen. Ooh. Calling 911. Maybe the door was open. Maybe you used the key. You don't remember. When the ambulance came, you were slapping Alex's face, shouting his name, trying to revive him. You were aware that Mrs. Snyder was there too, that she'd arrived just about when the ambulance did, that she was crying and shouting at you, but you weren't hearing her. You were watching Alex. You were seeing the white-sleeved arms lifting him. You were listening to the briskly shouted words, hoping for an encouraging sign. You saw your friend being swallowed up by tubes and straps as he floated on a stretcher into a waiting ambulance whose doors slammed shut, locking him away from you. Then you were riding with Mrs. Snyder in her car, the windows open to air out the fumes, following the ambulance as it shrieked through the streets, stopping traffic and running red lights. She pulled into the hospital parking lot in time for you to see him being carried into the building, and one of the technicians had the presence of mind to tell you Alex was alive, he was breathing okay, and you held out onto hope, even though you were aware of what the technician didn't say, that Alex was going to be all right, that he was going to live. All you could do was pull yourself together. You more emotionally available parent than what Ducky is currently. I mean, yep. I'm taking a break and looking at the puppies. Yikes. Yes. For those playing along at home, this is this character's second unalive attempt. This short, I talked to your ex. And this is you. Whew, yeah. As soon as he said he was cleaning out the locker, I had a very, very bad feeling. Enough to find the waiting room with Mrs. Snyder, whose face was red and swollen and streaked with tears. As you sat huddled next to each other on a sofa, the events began replaying in your mind. Could you have been quicker? Should you have given mouth to mouth? Should you have dragged him out first and then turned off the car? Mrs. Snyder was sobbing, saying she shouldn't have gone to the book discussion group. She should have stayed home. Alex was acting so strange today, so happy, as if he knew it was all about to end, as if he was looking forward to a trip. And the word... I'm going to say the word, YouTube, because this is an important discussion to have. But again, trigger warning, and also YouTube, calm down. When the word suicide was elbowing its way into your brain, that's what it was. A suicide attempt. Your best friend tried to take his own life, and even though you knew that from the moment you found him in the car, it stunned you to finally give a name to what he did. Yeah. Puppies! Yeah, look at the puppies. Look at the cute one with his little blue toy. Karen got a spin-off. Even Karen's class got their own spin-off. Why didn't Stacy? I don't know. I want to see more from Claudia. I had the same bad feeling. I just wish we'd both been wrong. I wish we'd both been wrong too. I really, really wanted to be wrong. I was like, please, please no. I think early 2000 and early 2010s called. Oh, they aren't allowed to call him that. I mean, I usually self-censor the word, one, because YouTube can be kind of squirrely with it, and two, because the word itself can be triggering, but in this case, I feel like it's worth at least... I feel like sometimes you need to use the word to give respect to how serious it is, if that makes sense. I probably won't use it anymore. I just felt the need to use it in that one sentence, just because this bit is about like how serious the whole thing is. Lucky's books paralleled my high school life too close. My best friend admitted to me about self-deletion in high school recently. We were kind of aloof during that time. Yeah, Ducky's life is very... Ducky and Maggie are both very, in different ways, very relatable to me. But yeah, poor Ducky. I feel so bad. Like he's around more. Yeah. Yeah, in high school. Yeah. In high school, I knew people that tried to self-delete. It is a very scary thing, and it's even scarier when you're kind of too young to really understand what you're going through. And then you also have your own depressive thoughts to deal with. High school is just a terrible time for a lot of people, is what I'm saying. We need to talk about that more. It's really awful sometimes. It's quite traumatic. He's still alive. He's just not wrestling under that. Okay. I'm glad hope he's doing well. His words were coming back to you, the hints and signals that now seem so loud and clear. And you realize that all along, while you thought he wasn't confiding in you, he was. He was telling you everything. In the muttered comments about life being worthless, in the way he insisted that nothing mattered, in his refusal to find joy in the obvious places, even in his silences, he was opening his soul and showing you that somehow, for reasons he couldn't understand, it had been emptied. And today he was cleaning out his locker. He was cleaning out his locker. Could anything have been more obvious? Did he have to hold a sign to your face, write you a goodbye note? You should have stayed with him then. You should have called Mr. Winslow and told him you couldn't work and spent the day shoulder to shoulder with your best friend until he snapped out of it, no matter how long it took, no matter if it meant taking him yourself to Dr. Welsh. You told Mrs. Snyder that you should have seen it coming, or maybe she said it to you. You can't remember. Time passed, 5 minutes, maybe a half hour, but it seemed like months, and Mrs. Snyder spent most of it on the phone, arranging for Paula to stay at her friend's house for the time being, explaining the situation to the parents, but lying like crazy to Paula, telling her Alex had food poisoning, finally a doctor. But wasn't Paula already staying? I guess maybe she's just not going to pick her up that morning. She's going to stay like the rest of the weekend, maybe? Because she was already staying over for the night. Finally, the doctor called you both into a quiet hallway where he said that Alex was alive and sleeping. His blood and lungs showed early signs of carbon monoxide poisoning, but he was in a stable condition. Stable, which is better than critical. It means he'll live. The doctor told us we couldn't see Alex yet. He was still under observation, that we should go home, get some sleep, and wait for a call in the morning. You felt a little relieved as you walked back to the waiting room. You called Mom and Dad from a payphone and explained what had happened. You told them that you wanted to stay until you knew Alex was better. Mom insisted on coming to pick you up. She arrived a few minutes later. You tried not to cry, but you couldn't help it. You'd been holding it in all day, and before long, Mom's shoulder was wet on the left side from your tears, and on the right from Mrs. Snyder's. Oh. Mrs. Snyder wanted to wait overnight in case Alex woke up and needed her. Mom couldn't convince her to come back and rest, so Mom and you left together a little after 10 o'clock. On the way home, you filled in all the details from her, and you repeated them to Dad and Ted a few minutes later around the kitchen table. Oh, it's my wrestling night. No, I'm missing things in chat. Hang on, chat. The closest you come to family friendly is Animorphs, and that's not even that family friendly. Much better. I'm glad you're doing better and in therapy. That's always. I'm getting emotional support mochi. I made a hot chocolate because I was like, oh, it's an emotional support night. I need emotional support snackies. Yeah, it's very serious, and it's really important to. Oh shoot, I had somewhere the national helpline, puppies after hours. Um, shoot, I don't want to take... Oh, the puppies. I don't want to take the puppies away. We need the puppies. Can I just express how much I love the use of second-person tense in Ducky's books? I love it, too. I love it so much. And not just because I used to write like that in mine, at my high school diary all the time, but it's just a great use of second person, and we don't see it that often. Bless Ducky. Wait, who is the guy, the Cro Mag that was actually really nice? Was his name like Bud or something? We were kind of shipping him with Ducky. I miss him. I want to see him back. You could barely get the words out, and as you spoke, you relived the scene 100 times, and you hated when they told you that you'd done the right thing, when they tried to make something positive out of what was really a botched rescue of a botched life, the last-ditch effort of a friend who listened but never heard, who reacted instead of acted, who stepped in only after it was too late. No, you didn't know it's too late. He may pull through fine. He's gonna be okay, Ducky. It's okay. It's fine. But what's fine, Ducky? What's fine for Alex? Sliding back into the prison of himself, knowing that the one time he tried to do something about his situation, he failed, and now in addition to the gloom and the emptiness, he'll have to deal with the humiliation that everyone knows what he did. Will you, Mrs. Snyder, Mrs. Kruger, Ms. Kruger, and everyone else who cares about him have to spend each day worrying, monitoring him, suspecting every absence from school, interviewing each change in it, interpreting every change in his attitude, fearing any sudden show of happiness? Will he be able to live with all that? Will he try again? And if he does, will you be ready? Will you read the handwriting on the wall when things begin to spin out of control? How could he do this? How could anyone do something so stupid? Give up a whole life, 100,000 surprises and starry nights and comforts and conflict and traumas and dreams. How could he do this to us? Devastate the people who love him? Did he realize that if he'd succeeded, our own lives would be torn apart? Listen to yourself, Ducky. You've changed. No more hopeless optimist. The optimist in you would see a silver lining. He'd see that this might be a wake-up call to everyone, that now Alex will get the right kind of attention, that maybe he's gone as low as he can go, and now he'll start the climb. He'll start the climb out. Maybe. You can only hope. And be there until it happens. What a difference a night makes. It's after 3 a.m. Mom has just left. Yikes. His name was Bud. Yes, love Bud. Good night, Patrick. I always feel I always feel very, very unknowledgeable when we're when anything wrestling is happening. I just am like, I love that so many people in chat have it in common, and I love watching you guys converse. I just am always over here like, go sports. Wrestling forum on the Discord. Go for it. Maybe put it in the watch TV in the den. That'd be fun. She and Dad haven't been able to sleep either. She told you over and over that you couldn't have done any more than you did, that you were the only one who suspected how serious Alex's problem was, that you shouldn't blame yourself for not predicting a suicide attempt. No one wants to believe that will ever happen. She reminds you that you saved his life, no one else did. You listened, you tried to let... That is now Sunny and Ducky that have had to save somebody's life, like literally, in the moment. That's very difficult. You listened, you tried to let that idea in, you don't know if you can. Then as you were thinking, fighting back tears and exhaustion, she took your hand and quietly offered to cancel her travel plans. She and Dad had discussed it and agreed that they didn't have to go to Ghana. They would stay if you needed them around. You weren't expecting that, and your brain was too fried to even process the idea. But Mom said not to worry, you didn't have to answer right away. You could think about it sometime, like tomorrow, today, whatever. Transcript of a phone call. You should make them stay home. You should absolutely want them to cancel their plans. Go sports indeed. You and me both, Ellery. Ellery and I are over here for the emotional support friends, just like, yay! Sports ball! At 8 a.m. Mrs. Snyder, is this Ducky? Ducky, yes, how is he? Mrs. S, wide awake, walking around and talking with the nurses. He's going to make a 100% recovery. You shout the news to Mom, Dad, and Ted you shout the news. Mom, Dad, and Ted all rush in, relieved. Mrs. S, he had just passed out when you reached him, Ducky, so the damage wasn't too severe. I hope you realize what you did. I don't know how I can ever repay you. D, you can't, this news is repayment. When is he coming home? Mrs. S, at noon. D, today? School. You'll be in school. You can't imagine facing other people today. You look at Mom and Dad, and they're reading your mind, both nodding yes. Dad's making a gentle palms down gesture that implies stay. Yeah, just skip school. It's okay. You can skip school this one time as a treat, Ducky. It's not even like you're skipping for vacation. It's an actual emergency. Pageantry. That's why I've been to one. I have gone exactly one time to see wrestling. I could not tell you who I saw. I went with a friend. It was at con. It was Thursday night, and Thursday night is registration night, so there was nothing else going on. So they were just like, hey, you want to go with me to see the wrestling thing that's happening? And it was actually a lot of fun. It was the pageantry is what I love most about it. Mrs. S. Ducky, I just spoke to my brother Dave, who's a doctor in Chicago. I told him what happened, and he asked tons of questions. How has Alex behaved? What has he said? It turns out that there are warning signs all of us miss, signs that can be mistaken for other things, like depression. Alex has some serious problems, Ducky, things that are beyond all our love and attention. Anyway, Dave's affiliated with a recovery center there, and I've encouraged Alex. I hope to have him on a flight by tonight. You can't believe it. After all this, Alex is going to be sent away. D. Can I come over at noon and talk to him? My mom and dad will let me. Mrs. S. Of course, I'd like to see you myself. 11:30. Some notes about warning signs. For a week, you could watch any kind of wrestling without getting lost. Probably. That's probably true. I still want to do a giant video at some point where I just watch literally all of the back episodes of a soap opera and get caught up. You've spent much of the last few hours on the web. You did a search on the teen suicide and download information from some sites. What are the warning signs? They're similar to the signs of severe depression. No one can predict when severe depression will spill into a suicide attempt. Some studies show that the desire may have a chemical or genetic basis, but kids who have tried suicide report many of the same symptoms. Changes in sleep habits, sleeping late, difficulty waking frequently, frequent naps, constant yawning. Withdrawal from favorite activities, withdrawal from family and friendships. Inability to concentrate, a sudden personality change, declining grades, substance abuse, hints in conversations such as nothing matters or I won't be a problem for you much longer. Right before an attempt, a sudden cheerfulness and or a desire to put things in order. You learn that none of these things means that a person will necessarily attempt to kill himself, but each of them is a serious sign. It's especially serious if someone exhibits more than one or all. Like Alex. You feel as if you're seeing him right up there on the screen. You print out all the information you can. You file it away in your desk. Now it's time to go. You can use the car. Ted and Dad have brought your car back from the Snyders. That's right, because I was like, why did we bother airing out the other car? Why didn't we just take Ducky's car? You can skip school when your friend tries to unalive themselves, you self-sacrificing little fool. Yes. I'm on phone. I know you've got enough charge to turn on, phone. Turn on, please. Thank you. As the great Gonzo says, wrestling is like ballet. The storytelling through body language is quite fascinating. Yes. All of that is true. Gonzo is correct, as Gonzo always is. My neck hurts. Okay. Soap opera for the streets. Oh, that's funny. Likely driving viewers away. No, I'm fascinated. Feel free to keep talking as much as you want. I find it fascinating. I was trying to turn on my phone because I wanted to share the National Suicide Prevention Hotline in the chat just in case anybody needed it, but my phone hates me. So that'll happen soon, unless somebody wants to grab it and pin it. Or grab it so I can pin it, I mean. Just felt important given the circumstances. I hope in Ducky's third book he gets to focus a little bit more on himself, you know? The poor guy has helped his friend through 2 unalive attempts. It's been the finale of 2 of his now 3 books. 2 out of his 3 books. Yes, Ducky's last book is the series finale, which is very apt, I think. Next week we have to deal with the biggest Dawn book by far, and I'm not excited about it. Okay, phone, calm down. Like Alex, you feel as if you're seeing him right there on the screen. You print out the information, you can file it away in your desk. Now it's time to go. You can use the car. Ted and Dad have brought your car back from the Snyders. You're saying, but I find it neat. Yes. Yes, then we have the final Dawn book, and then we don't have to deal with Dawn. Well, we'll still have Dawn in the California Diaries. A lot of Dawn's books have some really unfortunate things happen to her, and I get a little bit gleeful when I'm like, Dawn was the one that had to deal with those terrible kids with the temper tantrums all the time. Good. Ew, Dawn. I know, right? And the funniest thing is Dawn books get the most viewership out of any of our California Diaries books, or at least we had really high viewership last week, and it's just because everybody just likes to communally dump on Dawn. Tuesday afternoon, when you get to the house, he's asleep, but you don't care. You're so happy that he's alive. The last time you were here, you thought you'd lost him. You sit at the kitchen table. Mrs. Snyder fixes you a snack. She asks if you like Oreos and milk, and you say yes, but she comes back to the table with orange juice and a box of wheat thins. She's a little out of it. Her hands are shaky, her hair pulled back into a messy ponytail. She looks as if she's been up all night. She sits across from you and starts speaking softly, painfully. Mrs. S. I didn't know Ducky. I didn't know he was so desperate. I didn't even know he was cutting school until Mr. Dean told me. I leave for work before Alex wakes up. I take care of Paula, who is a handful, and I assumed he was going every day. Alex lied to me about that. He lied about the alcohol, too. I knew he was drinking after that awful night. You brought him home from Jay's party. I snooped around and found a bottle in his room. Dr. Wells said that alcoholism wasn't the problem per se, that it was a symptom of depression, but I didn't believe it. D. It was impossible to figure him out. I was his closest friend, and I didn't know what was wrong. Mrs. S. When Mr. Snyder and I divorced, Alex didn't speak for 2 days. Not a word. I would joke with him, ask him questions, nothing. He didn't seem angry or sad, just blank. He finally came around a bit, but I don't think he was ever the same. She goes on and on, recalling more events, remembering angry statements she never should have made, times she should have stayed home from work, hunches she never followed through on. All her fault for divorcing, for having to work 2 jobs, for not being aggressive enough about getting child support payments, for smoking, for refusing to move to Chicago when her brother offered her a job, for joining her book discussion group instead of staying home on Monday nights. Your heart goes out to her. She sounds like you. You try to reassure her. You tell her about some of the information you learned on the internet, that the symptoms can deceive you, that you can't predict suicidal behaviors. Mrs. S, I guess you can drive yourself crazy second guessing. D, and it's so hard to help someone who won't talk. Alex just detached himself. Mrs. Snyder from school, from me, from his old self. On the one hand, he insisted nothing was wrong, and on the other hand, he was dropping all these hints. How could you know what to take seriously? How could you assume your best friend, a guy who loved life so much, would ever think of... You have to stop. Mrs. Snyder is in tears, and finishing that sentence would be cruel. But now you're breaking down too. And something else happens that you never would have predicted. She opens her arms and hugs you, and you hold each other, sobbing softly, warmed by the morning sunlight that streams through the kitchen window. A few moments later, you hear a door open upstairs. You and Mrs. Snyder go to the bottom landing. Alex is standing in his open doorway. His room is shaded and unlit. He looks like himself somehow. That surprises you. What were you expecting? Gray hair? Electrodes? Maybe just a look of unbearable inner torment. But he looks unfazed, as if nothing has happened. What time is it? He says with a yawn. You tell him 12:45. He nods and heads back into his room. His mom gestures for you to go talk to him, so you climb the stairs. His room has been tidied up by Mrs. Snyder, you assume. Alex is lying down, or he did it, because he was also cleaning out his locker. Alex is lying down on the bed covers, his eyes half open. You're nervous, rigid. What can you say? What does he remember? Should you let him bring it up? Should you be serious, cheerful, silent? You pull out his desk chair and sit next to the bed. Alex speaks first. A, isn't it a school day? D, I stayed home. A, you? How come? D, because of you. A, hey, did you pass that English exam? D, French. A, whatever, I knew it was an exam. D, I don't know yet. I was supposed to find out today, but it doesn't matter, Alex. I wanted to be here to see how you're doing. A, I'm cool. You didn't have to cut for that. D, I'm just glad you're here, Alex. God, I was worried. I couldn't just leave you, not after last night, so how do you feel? I mean, why? You know, last night? What made you do it? A, Ducky, it's no big deal, really. The words smack you. They throw you back. The same old lines, right back to where you left off, as if nothing happened. You seize up, you feel empty, hopeless. The door is slamming shut again. And it feels too familiar. Only now you know what's inside. You know what Alex is holding back, and you'll be damned if you let him get away with it. You shout. How can you say that? How can you possibly say that, Alex? You almost died. I was holding your body. I had to check to see if you were breathing. How can you say it's not a big deal? You know what you are, Alex? You're selfish. You're a selfish and foolish and stubborn person who can't take a second to realize that people care about you. I care about you. You know the words are harsh. You know he's fragile. But there it is. You had to say it. You don't want praise. You don't want him to fall all over you with thanks. You don't want promises and declarations. One word is all you need. One word. One look from Alex. Some sign that he has heard you, that he understands, and you'll stick around. Anything less, and you'll know it's time to move on. Leave him to the professionals and pray, as hard as that will be. Not because you hate him, not because you don't want him to get better, but because if he can't value the person who saved his life, if he can't show some emotion to the person who knows his deepest secret, then that person means nothing to him, and you can't be nothing. So you lock eyes with him, waiting for an answer, but he turns away, his face still as stone. There's a couple more pages left. I need to look at the puppies. Good for you, Ducky. Yeah. Golden Girls, when Sophie scolded her friend for the same reason. Yep. Okay. Okay, we're almost done. We've got 5.5 pages left, and then we're done tonight. Oh, Daniel, are we still on for 7 my time tomorrow? We on for our same Animorphs time, same Animorph place? You stand quietly, and then you leave. Mrs. Snyder is staring at you as you walk through the house. You met her glance briefly, painfully, but you keep going. You hear her running up the stairs as you head out the door. You climb into your car, steeling yourself against tears. You turn on the ignition and shift into drive. Ducky, wait! Mrs. Snyder is running towards you across the lawn. You lower the passenger window, and she leans in. Alex told me that he wants to speak to you. Please don't go. You feel numb as you turn the car off, numb as you walk toward the house, numb as you enter and climb the stairs. Alex's bedroom door is open. His back is to you. He's looking out the window. You stand up for a moment, but he doesn't move, so you walk closer, and you see that he's crying. Alex, you say? His face is so blank and unfeeling. His face so blank and unfeeling a moment ago now looks sunken and hollow. When he speaks, you can barely hear him. I'm sorry, he says. I'm so sorry. You feel your own rage washing away. You reach out and put a hand on his shoulder. Just get better, you whisper back. He raises his eyes to the big sycamore tree in the front yard. A faint smile plays across his face. You know what? I thought of last night in the hospital. The time I fell out of that tree. You cringe at the memory. You were only 10. You stood there helpless while he howled and howled. I remember. The pain was unbelievable. I never imagined anything could hurt so much. I never heard you scream like that. Well, last night, I thought about how falling out of the tree was nothing compared to this. Finally, Alex turns toward you. He's looking you straight in the eye. You understand. Totally. And you see why he couldn't open up. It wasn't your fault. Or his. Opening up meant feeling that pain. So he buried it inside until he couldn't bury it anymore. You sit at the front of his bed. He sits on the pillow. Oh, sorry. You sit at the foot of his bed. I was like, what's the front of the bed? He sits on the pillow the way you've sat a million other times for a million other conversations. He talks a little about Chicago. He's dreading it, in a way, but looking forward to a change of scenery. You tell him to bring back Frango mints. Whenever Mom and Dad go to Chicago, they always bring back Frango mints from some big department store. It's a dumb thing to say, but it feels right. Alex promises he'll find some. You help him pull down a suitcase from his closet shelf. You both begin packing his stuff. His mom comes upstairs and reminds Alex that they have to leave soon to pick up his ticket at the airport. I've got it under control now, Alex says to you about the packing. Well, you reply, yeah, he says, I'll see you soon. Call me. I will. You turn to leave, but before you're out the door, Alex mumbles, thank you. Then he continues packing. And you leave. As you walk down the stairs, you feel dazed. You try not to think that you almost threw away your friendship. He was the one who pulled you back. But in a way, that's how it should have been. After so much blindness and bumbling, after everything you've done wrong, at least you know you did one thing right. Tuesday, 2/17. Los Angeles International Airport, in which Ducky returns after a 2-day rest. Some rest between school, homework, phone conversations with Mrs. Snyder, email to Alex, preparations for Mom and Dad's trip. Oh, they're still going on the trip, and talking and taking them to meet the plane. You haven't stopped. Telling Mom and Dad they should go to Ghana was the hardest part of the last 2 days. You reached that decision in the car on the way back from Alex's on Tuesday. What was the point of their staying home? Alex is going to be away. You'll be fine, and they'd be doing, all they'd be doing would be moping around the house thinking about the trip they didn't take. That's true. They would have made it your fault somehow. Ted and you can buy the botanically correct tree and celebrate a brotherly Christmas. You'll make it fun. Mom and Dad kept asking if you were sure, insisting they'd be happy to stay. You knew they were sincere, but you could sense their relief and their appreciation. Driving to the airport, you were totally fine. Saying goodbye, though, was a different story. For the first time since you were a little boy, you cried. You never thought you'd miss them so much. They cried back. You hugged each other until the final boarding announcement. And you stood by the window and waved to the plane as it took off, the way you did when you were little. Everything's changed so much since the day you picked them up here. You've changed. As a son, as a brother, as a friend. You feel funny about going back to Palo City now, to life without parents. Or Alex. When he called you from Chicago this afternoon, he didn't say much, but he sounded a little upbeat, I think. He said he hopes to come home soon. You talked to Mrs. Snyder afterwards. She thinks he sounds fragile. She's not so sure about the coming home soon part. Neither am I. Oh well, I guess it'll be pretty lonely for a while. At least I have Ted and my friends. They'll be glad good old Ducky's back. I'm not sure I'm up to being good old Ducky just yet, though. Maybe just plain Ducky, if I can figure out who that is. Ooh. And it's like, look for Dawn Diary 3. I don't want to have to read Dawn Diary 3 any earlier than I have to. Because I have to. I'm sure Alex became friends with Ferris Bueller. I know, I love how I'm just like, oh, I hope chat's okay. I look over, everybody's just like, do, talking about wrestling, and I'm like, oh, thank God. Okay. Yeah, I knew that one was going to be a lot. Okay, we finished it, and before midnight, even. I just realized I asked Daniel a question and then didn't check for his answer. Yep, 4/7 Eastern. Yay! Book 7. Wait, we're on. Yeah, book 7. Wait, no. Book 7. We're on book 7, right? I think. The 7th Animorphs book. Book 7. Okay, I was right. I was like, wait, 7? Is it 7? All right. Well, we did it, guys. We did the things. We did all the things. Math is hard. Yeah. It's not even math is hard. It's just this is the 7th one of these books, and there's a lot of them. So I'm just like, what book are we on? Animorphs is that series where there's quite a lot of them. If you're gonna read through them, you got to be in there for the long haul. It's a commitment. So, book 7 and chapter 2 of my flowery sci-fi magical fanfic. I love it. I was wondering, is there every time I watch one of these? Words are hard. Words are hard. Sleeping doggies. Words are very hard. Well, I'm going to log that we have covered. Guys, we've covered 75 books on this channel. That doesn't even count all the movies, TV episodes aside, all the everything aside. We've covered 75 books. There is quite a bit of content. Everything is hard, friend. Yep. No worries. Glad you could be here in any capacity. Don't be sorry. But yeah, sometimes when it feels like because I haven't even scratched the surface, there will always be way more content out there to cover than I want to cover. But when I realized that just in books alone, we've covered 75 books. Not to mention all of the other things, the TV shows, the video games, the movies. That one time I covered a bunch of weird, WikiHow article. Like, we just covered so much weird shit on this channel. It's just a great great thing to realize that we've accomplished a lot. So thank you guys for being there. If you're newer and you're seeing this, remember, we will probably get to 100 by mid-April. Yes, we will. We sure will. And if you're new to the channel, hi. I have 233 regular videos on my channel, over 150 live streams. A lot of them, all of the VODs to every live stream I've ever done is still up on a big playlist. So if you want to go back and see those 75 books for yourself, go for it. And we will be back tomorrow with more content. There's video games too, as weird as the books. Subscribe. If you're new and seeing this, we would appreciate you subscribing, but no pressure. Thank you for being here. Apparently that was only 117 pages. But yeah, we will see you guys next time. Hopefully I'll have a new... Oh yeah, we're over 6,500 subs. We are there. We're on the road to 10K. So thank you all for being part of that. Thank you all for making the channel happen. I appreciate you guys. We're really close to 250 episodes of like just regular videos. So that's cool too. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully there will be a new video out and you'll have the new live stream tomorrow. Yeah, I'll see ya. Bye guys.